All right, here we go. Spawning down in the bottom right. This is the opening match of Group B of the Liuli Cup, the $10,000 tournament. It is Team Liquid's Clem. Malem. Up against one of the players. Maybe one of just a handful of players that I feel like might kind of have his number a little bit in the last 6 months or so, especially in this matchup. It is Rogue in the red. I believe Rogue is still a part of Team Falcons. I'm not going to look it up, but hopefully chat can let me know, inform me about that. If you missed the games from yesterday, I'm not going to spoil them. I'm probably going to have a YouTube video playlist that shows Group A. But I would recommend watching Group A because there are some bombshell results in there, some absolutely sick stuff. And, I mean, it had Rainer, Maru, Lambo, Creator. There was a crazy game between Creator and Rainer that was on a knife's edge for like 7.5 minutes straight, which was crazy because it was a 2-base all-in. That's all I'm going to say about it. You can watch it yourself. The other opening match between Maru and Lambo, probably... I mean, that's probably going to be the series of the tournament. Probably. And I hope I'm wrong because that means we got an even better set of games from there. But as we get into this one, you know, between games, I think I'm going to look up the actual stats between these two in recent history. Try to make sure I don't spoil myself. Rogue, by the way, putting the Overlord very far back. Doesn't even bother scouting the actual natural expansion. And to be fair, Clem is not a player that proxy raxes. He's not a player that really deviates too much in terms of going for crazy stuff. The only time I remember him proxy raxing was actually on Equilibrium versus Serral in the World Team League. And that was a big win. That was a huge win. He full walled the natural expansion, ended up winning that game. Rogue going to elect to go for 6 lings here. Oh, Clem still gets a kill on one, though. That is really painful. When your opponent opens up 6 lings and you still get a kill, I mean, that's the dream scenario for the Terran player right there. I mean, technically, the dream scenario is you block the hatch, you kill the drone trying to build the hatch, or maybe you get like 2 drones somehow on the natural, and then the opponent GG's out. I actually did have a game yesterday on the ladder where I killed the Terran's Reaper. They tried to block my expansion with an SCV, the 3rd. I killed that with the drone, got the hatch down, and then killed the Reaper in the natural without losing a ling. And they just GG'd out at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Which, well, that doesn't happen very often, so I was pretty happy about that. It is going to be a 3cc 2-1-1, which probably one of the highest level openers you can do. Oh, Clem. Okay, well, lane speed is done. Can Clem escape with this Reaper? There's a Hellion here. No problem. Where is the other lane? It's on the other side of the map. It just pokes in. Does see the 3rd CC and the 2nd barracks. So Rogue has full information right now. This is literally only one thing. Actually, well, if it's Clem, it's only one thing. If it were Maru, it actually could be a 3rd barracks behind. It could be a Hellbat play. And even here, this could go into a Hellbat play. And it would actually be rather good against what Rogue is doing, which is going to be a very fast Evo chamber. We'll see if it's Carapace or melee. Good save right there on the drones from Rogue. It is 4 Hellions with this, which for a very long time, players were not building any Hellions. And then they said, that's really risky. And so they started building 2. And then they said, well, if I build 2, that's too much of a tip-off. So they started building 4 to make it look like other builds. Nice snipe there on a drone. Still forcing a little bit of lost mining time as well. It is going to be that fast Carapace. This will not be done in time for the first 2 medevacs, obviously. That's going to be finishing and hitting around 5:30. But it will give Rogue a little edge in this setup. He is going to go for the layer before adding on second Evo chamber. And actually already on 2 gases, getting a third. This is kind of an interesting approach from Rogue. He's on a very nice drone count already, 60 drones. And will fire up the Baneling Nest, the 4th base, momentarily, no doubt. He's going to be playing 4 gases for the moment. Yeah, usually don't kind of like, oh, this Scantipede. Oh, you better get out of the way, my guy. You better get right out of the way. You jerk. Oh, and it's a kill, not a cancel. Did the Scantipede mean that he didn't get the cancel? It actually might have. Even just a second and a half, 2 seconds. Oh, we got a target fire on the Spore. Gets the kill there. This is already really great damage for Clem here. He's got to be careful with the medevacs, but as long as he gets out right now. Oh, nice save right there on those Marines. He didn't lose anything. No! Edit that in post. Can we edit that in post? Clem going to be adding on the second factory very, very quickly. Maru did this yesterday in his series, but Clem still gets the 4th and 5th barracks before this. No 4th command center just yet for Clem. That's not the craziest thing in the world. Terran players are realizing that you can get a lot more flexible. You can be... Oh, hold that thought. Actually, really nice jump on these Hellions. Rogue using the creep that he had and the excellent block of the sight blocker to kind of get the jump on those Hellions. One of them actually does survive, which I'm very surprised by. Is Clem going to try and repair this up? One Hellion is such an underwhelming addition to an army. We do have +1 missile and +2 carapace coming in. That's very, very interesting. No +1 melee. He got the second Evo chamber quite late. Rogue has always been an incredibly fast player, and we can see it displayed with the creep spread right now. But Clem is off to a great start here. Killing the unit before it casts is kind of a hard counter to every spell. Nice job right there. Sniping down a couple of Banes. Oh, this is just in vision. He tries to get sneaky, but the creep spread of Rogue is so far forward already. It may... Just the little extra creep where creep links up on the low ground here or starts expanding around this position makes such a massive difference trying to defend against drops, against plays like that. Like, just the vision he had there, even though it didn't end up helping out. Nice hot pickup there from Clem. Almost awesome units. Hydra range is done. No Hydra speed started up just yet. Rogue going to re-engage on top of Clem's bottom complement of his army, but... Oh, we do have this attack coming in on the top side. Rogue is not in position with enough units. That's going to force a cancel on this base. He's going to try and blast through the 3rd base. Clem will pull. Oh, the SCV is unfortunately back in a little too early. Meanwhile, the Marines, they are sprinting away on the other side. Nice hot pickup saves the tanks. Oh, and look at the stutter step target fire. Clem is going to be able to get a very nice little trade here. On the tail end, he doesn't pick up every unit, but that was still pretty damn good. Behind this, Hive on the way. Infestors popping out. Rogue is still on 4 bases. He is still in an acceptable position economically, but he does need to secure this 5th. And yeah, definitely wants to get these... Oh god, this one queen running away from the other queen that has the shift-click priority for building 2 tumors. That was a very funny little interaction right there. And you can see that the hotkeys... There's a lot of tasks to do with Zerg, and there's a lot of different approaches to how you do things. And you can see that the hotkeys of Rogue kind of getting in the way a little bit there. Hydra speed very late, but it will complete shortly. There's the +2 missile. Still no melee upgrade. I mean, Banes are good even without a melee upgrade, but the Lings are going to struggle a little bit here. Widow Mines will burrow up. They do have... Oh, that's a big fungal growth. That's a monster fungal, in fact. Widowmine does get revealed, but it gets a good shot first on the other side of the map. Well, looks like this is... this went pretty well for Clem. Yeah, the Zerglings are down 2 upgrades. There's 0-2 Zerglings versus 2-2 Bio right now. Has Clem lost a tank yet? No, he hasn't. These are his 2 original tanks. He has kept them alive with the medevacs brilliantly. Rogue's still starting to really envelop the map. And this is quite nice for him that he gets to creep on the top of the ramp here. Very important that Clem starts clearing some of this creep from the middle as he's doing right now. Oh, there's no Banelings, are there? There's 8. Okay, there we go. They repositioned. Because there's creep on the bottom side so far forward, Rogue kind of knows that this is where the main push is coming. Infestor on the left does have access to a fungal. He gets in, not a bad one. Clem, though, is going to be able to retreat out. Tank's really doing work there. It's going to be an attempt to get into lurkers here by Rogue. Oh, fungal growth doesn't get avoided. That was a pretty big friendly fire mine. Oh, that's a monster fungal. Can he chain it? He absolutely can if he drops the fungal. He drops it on the medevacs. There's so many medevacs here. And they mostly will escape on out. Oh, that was almost a total disaster for Clem. It was still a very good fight for Rogue, though. And that is going to buy him time for the lurkers. Is there a Ghost Academy done yet? No, there's not. I believe he did see the lurkers, but he's not teching up to the ghosts yet. Unless I'm crazy and I'm missing it. No, I don't think so. Rogue has this set up. Surely there's going to be a Ghost Academy soon, right? Lings with adrenal glands and no attack upgrades is very funny as a concept to me. They just aren't great. Yeah, they're going to have a tough time getting through that tough armor. You can see right there as the lurkers do burrow, they avoid the splash damage. We do see a drop coming into the main base. Rogue is in position with some Hydras, and Transfuse is going to help keep them alive, but the bio is just surviving so long against these melee-less Lings. Oh, but a fungal in the middle. He chains it. Can he get the kills? Get some pretty big kills there. Rogue is off to a flying start in game number 1. Clem is in some big trouble, it feels like, here. Okay, there we go. Finally adding some ghosts in. He really doesn't have a good answer to lurkers right now. He's getting into the Liberators, and he's already got double starport. But if these lurkers set up in a nasty position, which they absolutely could, potentially even right now. Oh, wow, that was a reach mine right there. Rogue also has taken the 6th base here in kind of the pocket. God, that is a lot of Liberators, actually. Oh, Widowmine protecting the SCVs. Command Center may go down on the ground, but a lot of stuff just died for Rogue. He doesn't have Microbial Shroud. Oh, but he's going to boost forward. Able to get 3 of these Liberators before they can really siege. Gets a 4th one as well. Fungal growth coming through as well. There's barely any ghosts in this army, but the concave might be enough. Ghost does go down. These are well upgraded Hydras, 2-2. Clem. Oh, he loses a lot there. Widowmine dying to the lurkers, and now Rogue is reinforcing on the front line with this. Hydra's on the top side. Oh, they get the medevac. Very nice little move right there from Rogue with the lunge forward. Fungal growth on the Liberators. I mean, they're already sieged. They're not going anywhere, but it is, I suppose, technically a little bit of extra DPS. This is so many liberation zones to attack into, though. Clem is, I mean, this is a hard position to break right here. Kind of confusing with the health bar, but this is the Liberator's health bar. The Command Center is about half HP right now. Does he have range for the Liberators? Not yet. Even without that, they're doing some pretty darn good work. Oh, this repair. Gonna lose a couple of SCVs there. Meanwhile, Nidus gets denied in the main. The Deniedus Worm. Advanced Ballistic's gonna come in. We've got a big attack. 3-3 gonna well, +3 missile gonna complete for a moment in a moment for Rogue. He drew his opponent out of position, it seems. And Clem loses the majority of the Liberators. That is most of his space control. And I think Rogue might be able to blast through that Hellion that survived for so long. Finally gets taken out. Overseer plus Hydras from low ground going to take down that high ground siege tank. It has been quite a nuisance. 17 SCVs falling. Both players are spending all their cash as they get it. Ghost gets taken down before it can join up. Just, once again, this Hydra position is actually really nasty. Oh, and he's going to use it to form a bridgehead into the main. If these lurkers siege the ramp, it's over. And Clem says it's over anyways. GG. Rogue gets a sick Game 1 victory. Wowie zowie. Wawa weewa. And we're going to head to Winter Madness for game number 2. Damn, that was kind of sick. Bracket command is wrong. It is wrong on purpose. But what we can do, where to bet, is at 100% live. The games are played from this morning. But, wowie zowie. My mouse is zowie. Nice. The games are from this morning, but I am unspoiled. So please, no spoilers. All right, Winter Madness is going to be game 2. Damn, Rogue is so fast. All right, spawning down in the bottom right. It is Team Liquid's Clem. In the blue. And his opponent spawning up the top left. It is Rogue. In the red. Malem. Gotta fix that. Missed out. What do you think Clem did wrong? The biggest moment where things went wrong, first of all, I think he saw the lurkers and didn't go into ghosts right away. He tried to use liberators, which actually was quite successful. But one, he didn't have advanced ballistics done as quickly as he could have. And two, if you're going to play the liberator style, one, you're kind of hoping they don't play Vipers. And honestly, I feel like Rogue kind of does prefer to skip Vipers. And in that sense, it can actually be totally fine to go fast Liberators and prioritize them over Ghosts. But if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that the Liberators are never kind of caught under-defended. And that is what happened in the big break on the kind of pocket third base. There's obviously lots of things in a game like that, and you gotta give massive, massive credit to Rogue for the insanely good creep spread he had. Like, when the creep spread is that good, it really undercuts the ability of the opponent to, I mean, make anything happen. And we got to remember as well, Clem had a good start, like a really good start, I would say, with the first double drop. Yeah, but once again, like, if your opponent is able to get a... If your opponent's able to get a good situation, and, like, get a break like that, kind of at a decisive fight, because those Liberators really were the most important parts of Clem's army since he didn't go for Ghosts quickly. I'm actually kind of surprised that he didn't go for Ghosts quickly. Oh. Once again, Rogue opening up with the 6 Ling opener. He wants that fast Ling speed, and he is going to go for the double inject. Clem wants to delay this command set, or delay this third hatch for as long as possible. Oh. Okay, kind of a cute little move from Clem. Trying to potentially run by as the queen had moved itself out of position. Moved herself. Herstory. Clem not going to be able to get an early drone the way he did in the previous game. He is going to open up 2 command centers, though. This is something that is becoming more and more popular from Terran players. And I think it's a really good move to mix in. Because, yes, you need to get a lot of damage done. But it can kind of keep Zerg players honest. I will say you do need to kill a lot of drones with this. We are going to see the Reaper attempting to get jumped, but... Oh, nice target fire. Can he get the second Ling? No, not quite. Still, it's a nice little shot on those Lings. That is a really fast second and third gas off of this layer play. This feels like either like a rush to Hydras or... Okay, no. With the 4th gas, yeah, this has got to be Muta. Surely. Surely. It is going to be 2-base Cloak Banshee out of Clem. We will see the command center probably come down in the next few moments. I think it's going to be this S... Oh, no. Never mind. It's in the main. It's funny because if you asked me what's the timing, I would not be able to tell you, but I can tell you based on vibes. I'm like, oh, yeah, no. After this stuff, after this amount of stuff has happened, that's when we build the 3rd CC with this build. It is going to be a Hydralisk rush. Okay. Well, that's intriguing to me at the very least. Spore Crawler's going to start up, but... actually, no. They're going to be just in time. Yeah, they are a little bit early for the... what do you call it? For a 3cc build, but perfectly timed, basically. I will say... I said perfectly timed, but it was like 2 seconds late, which actually does cost him 2 drones. Clem's going to find a little bit of a sweet spot here. Gets a 3rd drone. I like the decloak there and just disengage. Not a whole lot to be found. The other thing about this is that it allows Clem to control the creep spread a little bit earlier with more Hellions. As long as the Hellions are very well controlled, it's very difficult to get a jump on them. Nice kill on one of those creep tumors again. This is already a drastically different start than the previous game, just in terms of the state of the creep. Oh, and this one queen getting caught off creep, that is a big deal. Not to mention the fact that, of course, Rogue is opening up with a wild setup. He's going for so many Hydralisks right here. This feels like a bust, actually. Really good Hellion control here. He also got a couple of drones, which is very nice. So far, I don't think there's any indication of what this is. Clem, though, I mean, he's going for tanks, and that is already going to be good against this. A couple more drones getting picked off in the natural. Ooh, he does lose one of the Banshees there. That's expensive. But Clem is actually now ahead in workers. And, God, this just feels like such a kind of randomish all-in out of Rogue. I don't know that Clem even now knows about it, though. I feel like you might be building a bunker if you did. Now, if your opponent loaded up into 2 medevacs, you could just win the game right here if you caught those medis. But Rogue is going to reveal these Hydras right away. He doesn't quite have Hydra range yet. The tanks are very well set up. There's no 1-1. There's no combat shields yet, but this looks very holdable for Clem. Oh, nice kill on the Changelings right away. Hydra range is going to complete. Here comes the bust attempt, but there's like no front line. These Hydras are going to get wrecked. Absolutely destroyed. He doesn't even need the tanks here. Yeah, no, Clem is just going to clean this up and easily takes game number 2 and evens the series of 1 apiece. Wow. Is this the first match of the group? It is. It is. Clem versus Rogue, best of 3 TVZ. Group B. Oh, yeah, we'll put replay cast. Absolutely zero idea how the Hydra thing is supposed to work. I think it's what I said, where you're looking to catch a drop. But, like, because I could totally see a world where the Terran player loads up with their first 2 medevacs and, like, flies into a spot, basically flies around that right side third base, or maybe down to the bottom left, and there's just 10 to 12 Hydras there. And then the Hydras kill both medevacs, and then there's, like the game ends. Because there's no protection for the tanks. 1-1 in combat shield's not yet done. There's no medevacs now. Yeah, I feel like the cast is replay, but the game's alive, right? Always, always. This is a replay cast, so no spoilers. Replay cast from earlier today. No spoilers, please. All right. So game number 3. It's going to be on Mama Ship. Okay. You saw Shin do it once, tried it, and 6 Hellions just ran out of my base and killed 50 drones. I feel like that, yes, I feel like Hellion drive-bys are usually going to be, like, quite good against that kind of thing. All right, here we go. Spawning down in the middle of Mothership. It is Rogue. In the red. And his opponent spawning up the top left for Team Liquid. It's Clem. In the blue. And Clem going to be opening up with a low ground depot. And Mothership, of course, being a 3-player map. There's always a chance of shenanigans. So I kind of like the idea, since you aren't always going to get a scout, of opening up with a low ground. I will say this could potentially be exploitable, though, by some kind of very weird... Like, if Clem did this every game on this map, for example, this could be exploitable by some kind of weird, maybe like Roach Ravager play, because you're not on the high ground. But I do think that this is good against most cheese. Ooh, is that so Infofox? Who's playing? Oh, also... I've never heard of this before, but this is a baseball factoid. So the baseball season is like just about to start, and they have what's called spring training, and then they also have like the players just start to report for stuff. So apparently 3 players in less than the last week have all reported or all been shown to have broken their, it's called like the hamate bone, or Hamate bone in your thumb, or in your hand. And I've never even heard of this bone. And then it's like 3 players break it in a week. I'm like, what is even happening? Sweden versus Italy men's. Oh yeah, that's a bit of an unfair fight. Clem did not SCV scout. The cool thing about this too is you can do this with just a depot and 2 racks. He still builds the second depot. Rogue does get an informational advantage. Big one, in fact. Clem doesn't even yet know where his opponent's expanded. Or, sorry, where his opponent's base is. Okay, I was going to say, where is this drone going? But he was just trying to avoid the normal path of the Reaper. Rogue does go for the fast gas here. Or, sorry, fast link speed. which means you're going to be taking your hatch. Oh, no, never mind. He doesn't go for extra drones. He wants to take it now. Clem will go for 4 Reapers here. Okay, so he's going to definitely want to try and cancel this expansion. And it should be just a formality. This is so far away. Obviously, you could have taken the close base, but then you're expanding towards the Terran, and that just doesn't feel good at all. It is going to be a quick factory behind this. After going for a singular Marine, which is really interesting. Reactor should start up in a moment. Clem. I'm surprised he's not being more active with the grenade usage to try and shove the queens away. I feel like it may end up costing him the ability to kill this base. Ooh, he does kind of isolate one of the queens here. This is really, really bad for Rogue. Rogue loses the queen. Link speed not quite done yet. It finishes at 330. If Clem gets the second queen right here, which he's really close to doing, picking off a bunch of lings too. Oh my god, this is so good for Clem right now. Rogue has to kill these Reapers now. He's gone for a lot of lings. Oh, he will get a wraparound on them. They did wiggle their way out. 2 of the Reapers do escape for the moment, but I think Rogue should be able to chase these down. Ooh, Clem's going to try and get back to the low ground. Rogue... Oh, man, Rogue built so many Zerglings here. 32 Zerglings early. And he lost 2 queens. This is an insanely high value for Reaper opening. We're going to see a kill on the tech lab, and he's going to get the reactor most likely. Factory has been hidden. Tech lab... Okay, this is bait. This is bait. Don't fall for it, Rogue. The tech lab gains HP at a rapid rate. So trying to kill it would be not the best. This does force a little bit of a reaction from Clem. Thing is, Clem's on 3 CCs. Rogue is so far behind in economy right now. And it's just going to be Cloak Banshee behind this. Hellions will reveal themselves. I wouldn't mind Rogue going for an attempted jump on them. He sees exactly where they are. Oh, but he's not going to do so. Clem just kind of chasing them all the way back. I will say on Mothership in particular, there's a lot of kind of random high ground overlord spots in the middle of the map. Not completely random, but yeah, there's like 3. And then there's this one outside of each pocket third. And then there's these ones here. So there's like 9 on the map. Kind of interspersed. We're going to see a quick double Evo out of Rogue once again. He's still doing 49 drones. Compare this with where he was in game number 1. And it is a night and day difference. In terms of the start of this game. Like, he is really hurting. The commitment to those early lings and the loss of those queens has slowed him down significantly. Rogue is going up to 10 queens. That means he's made 12 in this game with the loss of the 2 early queens. That is... Oh my god, he's making another one. He's going up to 11 queens. He's insane. Oh, and he doesn't have a spore in the main. Oh no, Rogue. He just tried to build one. It got blocked by his own drones. If Clem just clicks down the drones, he will kill so many of them. Rogue is going to go for a jump on the Hellions. He actually gets the surround. Oh my god, does he ever need that? Does he ever need that desperately? And even with this, Clem is just murdering drones in the main base of Rogue right now. A single Banshee has 16 kills currently. It basically... Yeah, look at that. Literally got down to 2 energy before decloaking there. Killing the Hellions is nice. It does not come even remotely close to killing 16 drones when the Zerg is already behind economically. And behind this, Clem already has his second factory started up. 4th and 5th barracks on the way as well. The 1-1 of Rogue, at least the Carapace is a little bit ahead of that of the Terran. Does feel like Clem has been a little bit flustered by Rogue. Maybe. It's weird to say that when things went so well for Clem in this game as the start. But it just... His timings feel a little bit less sharp. Is that... Nah. No, that's ridiculous to say, actually. Yeah, no, there's the supply explosion. I was like, it feels like he should be further ahead in supply. It just hadn't really kicked in yet. Rogue, I really don't know how he's going to possibly do anything here. Nice little split against the Widowmine here on the third base. And this will be a good little counterattack from Rogue. Rogue does still have decent creep spread here. He's going to complete his 1-1. Yeah, it's more so than anything that Rogue's 1-1 was super fast. Clem still has a nice 1-1 combat shields timing, relatively speaking. Oh, Widowmine tries to get baited into the army. Doesn't necessarily successfully do so. Yeah, Clem is just so far ahead, actually. 70 SCVs to 63 drones. Rogue just now taking the 5th hatchery and has basically no... Well, he has no drones at his 4th. Oh. Baneling run by attempted. +1 missile. We got to see Carapace, surely. Drop on the right side will get deflected. Oh, that's going to be a cancel coming in here. Widow Mines trying to be mine dragged into the army. You can see even an additional attempt there. Oh my god, he actually saves the mine. That is super freaking sick. It is so hard to defend against this kind of drop when you've had a good start. When you've had a bad start, like Rogue has, I would actually say disastrous start. It is borderline impossible. Good save right there from Clem. It is so difficult. You basically need to run Banes into a drop from the Terran without them noticing. That's kind of the only real way to catch up. And at this point, I mean, it's feeling like this game is slipping kind of completely out of reach. We do have +2 Carapace on the way. No Hydra speed started up just yet. Rogue going to try and go for another Ling drive-by. But there's already a mine well placed. Widowmine Drilling Claws has completed. Oh, wow. I can't believe that mine didn't fire. Queen does get blasted by the mine, though. There's a lot of mines in this army. Clem doesn't even need to burrow them all. But perhaps he should have a little bit further back. Hydras don't have actually a great concave. The Marines are the ones with a really good concave. No 2-2 yet for Clement. So that means this is actually going better than you'd expect for Rogue. But there's the Hydralist then getting sniped on the right side by this army that was kind of an afterthought. He does target the hatchery, and he won't actually get it. Well, the supplies for just a moment are kind of close-ish. Feels like that was an oopsie on the right side, clicking this hatch. The thing is, it's still a 4-base Terran to a 4-base Zerg. With a forward position, a sensor tower. Where even is the center of that? Oh, right here. And there's almost no creep for the Zerg. For the Zerg. Out front of the base. This is feeling like Clem has complete control of this game at this point. Once the, 2-2 is kicking in right now. As it kicks in, this gets increasingly difficult for the Zerg to trade. Well, that is a pretty good find. He just killed a lot of Widowmines. But once again, like, it just feels... Oh, the Banshee came in and finished off the hatch. Well, okay. Now we've officially entered copium territory for Rogue. It was already a little bit of copium, but now it is. Now it's that good stuff. Oh, the Widow Mine. The Widow Mine showing up. The drone was a little bit out of position. It's kind of... it's a little bit of an overcommitment here from Clem onto creep. But he does pull back. The Marauders will tank successfully. No concussive shells yet. Basically, the world is Clem's oyster at this point. Once again, I feel like from a position like this, you just focus on killing creep, denying bases, and fight constantly, because the Zerg just won't be able to keep up. Oh, that's a nice little fungal. Somehow the Widowmine doesn't fire. There is a changeling here in the middle. That's good from Rogue. But it almost doesn't matter what Rogue does if Clem just focuses on continuously building units. It feels like there's like no amount of skill that you can display. That's a pretty nice fungal there. And it's still a 32 army supply difference. I do love the warrior spirit out of Rogue. I love the determination. It's just Clem is going to continue to macro. He's continuing to tech up. He's getting close to his 3-3. He's added a second starport for Liberators. Rogue's biggest success that he can really achieve right here would be making Clem kill him in the late game with, like, ghosts. But I don't think Clem needs to do that. And there we go. There's another kill on this 5th base. That was, in fact, a kill. No cancel. There's just a little bit more insult to injury. And the injury is already grievous enough. Oh, fungal growth is going to land. Nice snipe on the Widowmine. Rogue is taking good little skirmishes. Like, he's doing a good job of fighting with what he has. It's just what he has is, like, a box of scraps. Man, Clem really wants that Infestor, and he does get it, and he will get away with the majority of the bio. And now he's going to have a little bit of fun with the multi-prong. 3-3 is kicking in, even finishing up that +1 vehicle plating. This now enables Clem to move in and kill a little bit of creep in the middle. Fungal will kill a medevac. But Rogue's been kind of dead in this game for... I would argue he was... I think a lot of people would argue he was dead after the initial start. I think that's a little bit much to imply that you're dead after that point. But it was a bad situation, no doubt. No doubt whatsoever. And he never really recovered and in fact, just fell way further behind. Kudos to Clem, though. Well played from him. 16 drones at that level is a death sentence. Oh, yes. No, after that, he was 100%, I would say, dead. I'm saying even as early as building 24 Lings against 4 Reapers and still losing 2 Queens. I would say even at that point, there are many people that would say that the game is over. I personally don't think so, because especially in ZVT, because there's so many interactions. But it's a pretty bad start. Then losing the 16 drones to the Banshee, the single Banshee in the main, that was kind of lights out. All right, we're going to run a minute and a half of ads. Actually, 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. The Uthermal TV2 circuit got money from a generous person who apparently made their money in crypto. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Rogue is knocked dark, sadly. Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Rogue, it does feel like when everything goes well for him, he has some of the most fearsome play in, like, the world, you know? Star Platinum the world. Why not pull away the drones? That is a really great question, Sturmgott. The fact that he just left them there... It's pretty bad. It's not a great look. Hey, welcome Poriforion. Bop, 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 bop. All right, it's going to be Shin versus Cyan. We're going to get into this one in just a moment. It's going to be Old Republic to start things off. Spoilers, Clem won a best of 3. We will get into it in just a moment. Rogue is still on Team Falcons, right? Yes, yes, he is. Are Shin or Cyan on teams? I believe Shin is currently teamless. Yes. He was on Weibo Gaming. Cyan is also teamless. Oh, okay. Looks like the ads have cleared. Once again, thank you to everyone on YouTube that has liked the video so far. And shout out to everyone watching on YouTube. Shout out to the peeps watching on Twitch as well. Well, we always shout those out. But still, let's get into it. Cyan versus Shin. Game series number 2. All right, here we go. Spawning up in the top right. It is Cyan. In the blue. Funnily enough, not in the Cyan. And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left. It is Shin. In the red. Have I tried Mugenics? No, but I feel like I've heard of that recently. Is that... What is that from? That's like a ref... Oh! Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Are we proxying? We proxying. Oh, and it's no scout. Ah, very cool. I haven't heard much about Binding of Isaac. Okay, so this is going to be hatch first at home. This, I believe, will be 3 hatch before pull. Looks like Cyan is... Oh, he is aware of the tricks of Shin. And that's going to be enough to prevent the block. That'll be enough to prevent the block. That's really nice for Cyan here. Oh, man, that's so good that he brought the probe to the low ground, anticipated the trickery, and this is actually so great. Oh, Shin is going to go for a 3 hatch before pull at home. He's going to block his opponent's third gas. Or sorry, not third gas, main gas. I was thinking third hatch. Cyan didn't want to take the gas right away anyways. So he was okay to just sit the probe there. It's kind of a little bit funky because you lose a bit of mining time, but the alternative is your opponent steals the gas and you either have to build a zealot to kill it, or you lose a lot of mining time killing a silly amount of probes, or pulling a silly amount of probes. And it's just bad. That's just a bad way to deal with things. Shin is going to be going for a gasless opener. Will Cyan open up Adept? If he doesn't, Shin is going to get away with a lot of greed here. Cyan will add on Warp Gate, interestingly. And he is going to go for the Adept. Still is going to be a Stargate. Funny enough, he had the money, like the gas, to go for this. I guess because he pulled the probe a little early, he was a little bit short on minerals relative to where he'd normally be. So he's like, okay, well, I can just start Warp Gate then. But no, I guess it's 50 minerals too, so that's kind of a moot point. This drone staying alive for as long as it has is kind of shielding Shin for his gasless opener. We're going to see a Creep Tumor dropped at the front. Cyan will get ready to go across the map here with these first 2 Adepts. There is a big opportunity to get damage done here. I wouldn't say he necessarily needs to get a crazy amount of damage done, but it would be pretty unfortunate if he let Shin get away with this. And already going to be able to find a drone that was transferring late from the 3rd. Lane speed started up just a little bit ago. So, yeah, this is not going to be easy to to do much about. Okay, third Nexus. I was going to say, I didn't see a probe being built at the natural there. I was wondering if there might have been a little bit of shenanigans coming in from Cyan. He's kind of staggering his probe production a little bit. Looks like he's just trying to hit the timings exactly. And, I mean, that does allow you to have a better bit of mining. Oh, look at this. Void Ray goes straight across the map. It's going to be able to get a kill on this first Ovi. And there's actually... Oh, my God. He might get 3 Overlords with this. He's going to get 2 on the other side of the map. He saved Prismatic Alignment. He finds the Overlord. Wowie zowie. If he checks down here, there is a non-zero chance he could get 4 Overlords with this Void Ray. But it looks like the Overlord's already pulling back. He'd have to know exactly where it was, and I don't think he does. I think he marked this one from earlier. It's going to be a Robo facility coming in behind this from Cyan. No Twilight. Very strange. He actually warps in a couple sentries. Oh, Shin catches Cyan snoozing at the third. We'll be able to grab a kill on one of those Adepts. Looks like Oracle and the Natural got a single drone, perhaps? Void Ray was looking for where that Overlord was. Okay, yeah, going after a Queen would have been not ideal. Funnily enough, he actually missed the Overlord that was on the other side of the map, and that is going to give Shin the scout on the Robo.
You have a new Queen. Show me those skills.
Show me those skills. Shin already had a nice drone count. Shin could go for a... Okay, so there's a couple options. This could be an all-in out of Cyan. We are going to be seeing a Robo Bay behind this, though. Which means that it will not be an all-in. But maybe... I'm curious if this War Prism was always part of the plan, or if it was just a, hey, let me see what I can get done kind of mood. But this is what I was going to say. Spire would be amazing here. It's really good to make. One, because it is so cheap now, relatively speaking. 150 minerals, 150 gas. That's not the craziest in terms of cheapness. Like, it's still a little bit pricey. But it's a great insurance policy. Ooh, Stasis Trap at the third. Void Ray, once again, he doesn't turn on his Prismatic Alignment. Cyan is, he likes his beams thin. There we go. There we go. He's graduated from Season 1 of Star Wars Rebels to... Or Episode 4, that weird skinny lightsaber effect. There's like 3 people in the chat that are going to get that reference. If you get that reference, leave a comment on the YouTube video. Or I don't know. Oh, nice cancel on this newest base. Shin will get the probe as well. Cyan does add a Phoenix here. What has he seen? He hasn't seen the Stargate. I guess he hasn't seen much else. So this is kind of a safety Phoenix. I do feel like Mass Muta is still going to be really scary to deal with, though. Like, we're pumping Colossus right now. Cyan does get supply blocked as well with the... I think that was a kill on the pylon, right? Yeah. Void Ray still hesitant about prismatically aligning. Cyan is building additional Phoenix here. This has to just be a read. Shin behind this. 14 more drones. And he is going to go for +1 flyer attacks. Oh, maybe Cyan... Actually, hold that thought. Fight in the middle of the map. Stasis Trap actually does land on the Lings. That must have been dropped in the middle of the army here. No cannon at the natural. So even though there's Phoenixes, and quite a few of them, in fact, he's going up to a third Phoenix. 9 more Mutas start up as he sees there's not a lot to defend. So that made him think, perhaps, that there was no answer. We do have a high-yield gas base getting set up here. 7 probes immediately going down. Oh, Shin turns on the Phoenix, kills it. That is really, really, really bad for Cyan right now. Every Phoenix is so important since he's on single Stargate. There's the second Stargate going to try and start up. I feel like Cyan is just absolutely in... Well, I kind of feel like he's dead, actually. Oh, another Phoenix goes down. This was just the first wave of Mutas, and it's already killed a good number of probes and a 2 of the Phoenixes. And +1 flyer attacks is going to be finishing up. Fleet Beacon and Anion Pulse Crystals, we're still talking about a minimum of a minute and a half before he can hard counter those mutas. And even if he can, there's going to be so many mutas that it would take, you know, 3 or 4 Phoenixes a lifetime to kill them. Another Phoenix goes down. Cyan, I think he's cooked. I think Shin's going to absolutely crush it in game number 1. He can 100% fight 4 Stalkers or whatever on the ground. Cyan is going to lose to the mass muta. Shin able to get the job done, and we'll take game number 1. Even with single Stargate Phoenix, it's going to be pretty challenging to deal with the mutas like that. It's crazy that Cyan kind of assumed mutas but wasn't prepared. Yeah, I feel like Cannon would have actually been better. Cannon in the mineral line if he was suspecting mutas. Yeah, but didn't work out, obviously. The Rebels' lightsabers are PVC pipes covered in foam for cosplays. Heh. The Rebels' lightsabers are oddly thin. Yeah, it was super weird. Super weird. I'm glad that, yeah, there's at least a couple people who get the reference, who understand what I'm talking about. Especially in Season 1. I feel like in the further seasons, they widened them a little bit more. Like, they felt a little bit closer to, like, what we're used to. More substantial. I wonder if that was a low-key reference to the fact that in Episode 4, from certain angles, when Obi-Wan's swinging his lightsaber, it looks really weird. It looks like super, super skinny. I wonder if that's... Yeah, I wonder if there's no way. But knowing Dave Filoni, I could see it actually. All right, let's get into game 2. Spawning down in the bottom left. Currently down 1-0 in the series. It is Cyan in the blue. And his opponent is spawning up at the top right for himself. He's unfortunately teamless. It is Shin in the red. Cyan sending out a very early probe. Oh, I always find this funny when Protoss players... So there's this little indicator right here, right? Everyone doing their best imitation of hero. Now it is Shin also sending a drone out. Of course, this mineral-only path enables some weird stuff. Shin did do a proxy hatch roach build versus Showtime on this map. And Showtime massively underreacted to it. Okay. Oh, man, this is so cool. Okay, he is going to bust down these rocks and try and win the game like that. Cyan should be looking here. I would never in a million years look here. I would look here. Because of high yield. Actually, wait. Oh, you could definitely do a Roach Ravager rush on this map. Take this high yield gas. Oh, that's sexy. Cyan's gonna find this. And that is already excellent information. Now, okay. We can see... This is just going to be spine crawlers, right? We got a forge coming in. It's going to be a full wall at the front. Shin, if I see this, I think I would want to add a roach warren, but he's going to go for the spine crawler rush. Okay. He does pull off gas, so it is going to be Ling speed. Builds the queen on the other side of the map. Cyan, the beauty of this, too, is that Cyan actually gets to see what's going on. This pylon is actually really, really handy right here. He can theoretically build a pseudo wall at the bottom of the ramp if he takes down these unbuildable rocks, which would be very, very good. The spines, of course, will be able to blast down this blockade quite quickly. Shin, oh, yeah, this Overlord putting itself in a little bit of harm's way. Ling's at the front will distract the Stalker. Oh, and they do get away. Queen adding a pitiful amount of DPS, but technically contributing. Me when I offer to put my name on the group project. Hey, there it is. There is this pseudo wall. Even with the unbuildable rocks here, he just builds around it. I actually think that's so smart. Shin is going to lose his Overlord, which is really, really bad. That actually guts this attack quite significantly. Oh, no! He put the creep tumor in range of the cannon. Ay. This is already stalled out. I feel like Cyan's kind of won the game. Okay, so the cannons basically make it so that the spines can't re-burrow anywhere. Shin's going to try and drone out of this, but he just started his hatchery on the other side of the map. He can mine from this base. And Cyan doesn't have the craziest economy right now. But Shin has committed so many resources to this. Oh, I love the hallucination here to reveal that Overlord. Great force field. Going to catch both queens. I think they're both dead. Energy recharge going to get popped. Yeah, these spines are going to reposition, but what can they do? Didn't even need to re-force field, but I don't hate that he did. In fact, I like that he did. Okay. What is Cyan's best move to end this game? I think you just build a prism. I think you build a prism, you ferry some sentries across the map, and then you end it that way. He is going for the robo. Yeah, I would love to see that, actually. You can take the third base. You know it would have been sick from Shin for this. Once he was scouted, proxy hatch like here. Or a layer and then drop over top of here. I don't know that it would have mattered. Cyan doesn't really need to break this here. Ooh, that's a decent little force field. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, Cyan... He doesn't have a lot of production. Like, this... No, this can't go sideways. There's 4 cannons. And so much shield battery. Good pullback on the spine. Shin is... This is very funny. Shin is actually mining in earnest from this base. And Cyan... Oh. If Shin had pulled back the spines right away, before this, and had not lost these 2 queens, he might have held this base long enough to get enough value from it to be in a playable position. As it is, he is technically mining more minerals per minute. Oh, that one spine crawler trying to re-burrow, unable to. Drones have this weird thing with their pathing where they... Actually, I guess all workers kind of have it. When you go from the state of having... not having minerals to having minerals, it changes the like status of the worker, and it makes them, I don't know how else to say it, but become more solid. So you can't, because normally workers, when they're mining, they path through. I guess for just a moment, they stop mineral walking. It is going to be a break attempt here with the Immortal Force Fields. Not perfect. Those 2 are quite a bit better, though. Oh, and now he's actually trapped the Lings. Oh, now they're amazing force fields all of a sudden. Oh, baby. Shin gets out. Saves like 2 Lings, but that was a very good fight for Cyan. Cyan is going to get a prism. This was a cool setup from Shin, and he's actually set himself up in a weirdly okay position. Cyan will have to take good fights here. Ravagers have been added on, and more Ravagers are being created. Shin is on 2 gases right now, but he is on just hatch tech. Still, if he can find a way to win the fights here and hold this base, he will be way ahead of Cyan. The Immortals, of course, very nice at dealing with spine crawlers, but not the greatest at fighting Ravagers or Lings. And Shin has been building, well, basically just morphing every roach he builds into Ravagers as he can. He's actually, even with 4 hatches, he's a little bit larva-starved for the number of Lings he wants to build. We're going to see an attempt to break this. Not the best force field. They kind of overlap on top of each other. Oh, big biles actually land. Hang on. Hang on. Can Shin actually do this? He just killed, like, all the sentries. That was actually a really good fight for Shin. Cyan, though. He does have his 3rd base very far along. Shin is actually doing such a good job of, like, keeping Cyan occupied here. It's crazy how well this went despite Cyan kind of shutting it down early. He committed so hard to the defense. I mean, like, look at the static defense. He did spend a lot of money, and it slowed down his economy big time. Shin, if he just pulls back now with these drones at the right moment, he comes out of this, I think... Well, hang on. Oh, no, he does have a lair. Yeah, he does have a lair. No roach speed started, though. He needs to start that ASAP. Oh, my God. He's making 2 dropper lords. That's kind of sick. Oh, Shin. No. We should not be poking forward right here. Force fields are too scary. Cyan's not paying attention at the moment, and I understand he wants to kind of play around that. This is actually going in towards a macro game at this point. Okay, Shin's got to pull back. He's got to give up this base. Cyan is going to have the opportunity to warp in a crazy number of units on the other side of the map. There it is. He is now giving up this base. Zealots are going to drop out. He's going to warp in a bunch of, well, just 2 additional Zealots for the moment. Lings will struggle to trade efficiently, but there's an overwhelming number of Lings, so it's kind of okay. Oh, if Shin denies +2 missile, that would be amazing. Or +2 weapons, that'd be amazing. Force fields are not perfect. So only one of the Ravagers actually gets caught and kills the core as well. That is really good for Shin. He is making water into wine here in this game. Oh my God, what else did he just kill? Stalker and a couple... No, there's just Stalkers. Oh my God, please, Shin, stop. Stop. He's got to run away. Force fields catch 1 Ravager. Shin, of course, did have the high ground vision. It's just, it's such a threat. By the way, this base has still not been killed. So it's continuing to provide larva for Shin. I really thought this game would be quite over after how the initial phase went, but Shin got good fights and never let Cyan easily break this position. I really wish that Cyan had held and gone for the counterattack with, like, Warp Prism Sentry. Because there's just no way in the world that Shin is going to have enough money to deal with that. We're going to see the Ling drop coming in on the bottom side, but Cyan's able to deal with it without any problem. Cybercore has been rebuilt. +2 weapons, just now restarted. It's actually a really big deal that that got denied because Colossus do one-shot Lings in a cone with that. Shin does have roach speed now on the way. It's very late, but it will be in time for the push out potentially. Bane speed, though, that's a bigger question mark. And that's a pretty important upgrade, I would say. Because this is a very zealot-heavy army. Shin also not going to have any... not going to have any creep to work with. Cyan's going to take a 4th. How did this go into a macro game, guys? How in the hell did this go into a macro game? Like a proper macro game. 23 Banes morphing in. Bane speed will be done because Cyan's not moving out yet. But Cyan's army, if he just maxes out, which he is about to do, it is going to be so difficult for Shin to take a good fight. Once again, at +2 weapons, I feel like if that hadn't been denied so early or so far along and kind of kept this at bay, I feel like we would have seen Cyan move out a while ago. But he is going now. He's maxed out. He's about to have that +2 weapons. 3 Colossus on the field. 5 Immortals. 5 Archons. Shin needs to get the biggest round of his life. And, well, he's not set up for it. In fact, he is at risk of being force fielded into his natural. Banelings may connect on the Zealots. And actually, it's a pretty good split from Cyan. Really good split. Is there enough Banes to clean this up? This is looking way better for Cyan than for Shin than I ever expected it could. Oh, can he get the Biles on the Prism? Does get the kill on the Prism, but the Colossus are feasting on these units. 2 HP on the Colossus on the side. 3 Colossus deep in the red. But Shin is not going to be able to clean this up just yet. He's got 23 roaches in the production tab. If Cyan gets away with all of these power units, oh my god, that is crazy. Colossus running for its little life. And it will get back home. GG is called, as Shin says, I needed to kill all 3. That is bonkers. We're going to take a look at I want to take a look at that fight again because they were so close to going down. 19 kills, 17 kills, 18 kills. That is the 3 Musketeers if ever I've seen them. The Immortals, 22 kills, 11 kills. Archons, 5 kills, 13 kills. Wow. Yeah, we just got to rewatch that fight because that's crazy. That is bonkers. One Zergling at one point is 1 hit away from killing a Colossus. Biles break the force fields pretty quickly. Lings come in from the backside. Nice hot pickup on this Colossus. The fact that the Immortals survived for as long as they did too. Oh, some really nice Prism Micro. I kind of missed it. So Shin needs to all in on the Prism here. And even with Cyan losing that Prism, I think this is still totally okay for him just to bait the Ravagers forward. Because all the Biles basically get used on the Prism. And look at these Ravagers just get roasted. God, this one Ling. Look at this. The Colossus retargeted after killing one of these Ravagers at 2 HP. Both Colossus at 32 HP. 1 Bile landing on these 2 Colossus would have killed them. The Ling attacking for a second longer on the left side would have killed this one. Oh, there's also a Zealot on the top left that snuck in. I cannot believe how bloody close this was. God, that is insane. The little Ling that couldn't. It was so close. And the +2 weapons I was talking about. Look at it. It gets its attack and then gets cooked. One tapped. 1 single Zergling additional here kills this Colossus. 1 single Bile placed right here kills both of these Colossi. Actually, was there... This is just... I just want to highlight how close these games can become. Was there a moment where he biled the Prism where he could have... Oh, man, there's such an art form to using your Corrosive Biles as the Zerg. So imagine an additional Bile on these Colossi here. A bunch of them land, but he needed 1 more. Crazy stuff. And that actually maybe means that these Ravagers survive long enough that this Ling gets its 1 extra attack. Just because it's soaking the damage. Oh, man. Absolutely The narrowest of margins. What a sick game. Well done from Cyan there. The fact that he recognized after that, too, that he needed to just get home. That was just cool as hell. That was just cool as hell. That was... Yay, StarCraft, wave my flag, my fan flag. That's just me being a fan. Critter watching the fight as well. Yeah. All right, let's run a quick minute of ads and we'll get set up into the next game. Yeah, the Colossus had a combined 66 HP. Oh, we were talking about Star Wars earlier. Order 66, anyone? Am I right, fellas? Buff Zerglings to attack 5% faster. That would be absolutely insane. All right, here we go. Spawning down in the bottom left. He had to work for it, but he did ultimately get the dub. It is Cyan in the blue. And his opponent spawning up at the top right. It is Shin in the red. I was talking about the Prism and the Sentries as though that's like an obvious answer. And in hindsight, yeah, I think it would have been an amazing move. And I think it would have won the game for Cyan far before Shin could have done much about it. But I don't blame Cyan for not really recognizing that. Because first of all, Warp Prism Sentry plays, while they used to be super, super, super strong in Wings of Liberty, and particularly Heart of the Swarm, before the Ravager existed, they aren't anymore, because Ravagers exist. Now, you know that, we know these days that Ravagers are really strong, but you also probably could tell that the economy of Shin would not allow him to have enough to deal with a counterattack. And by that, I mean he wouldn't have been able to afford Ravagers at the point that you could have gotten a 4-gate Prism drop on the other side of the map. Still, really cool setup. Cyan does... Oh, look at this. Oh, okay. Once bitten, twice shy. He goes for a Nexus first. Shin is not a 12-pooler. But he is, as we've seen, a proxy hatcher. I really like this move from Cyan. This is playing the player far more than playing the game, so to speak. This is quite strange out of Cyan. He elects to go for a very quick, like extra saturation in the main. So he wants just a little more mineral income than normal, while slow saturating the gases in his main. Also, not transferring those 2 extra probes to the natural is quite strange to me. Shin does open up with 6 lings off of his hatch gas pool. Cyan, though, is building a Zealot and will be just fine here. He's going to have the access to a... Oh, for just a split second, I thought he canceled the Zealot. Like, duh. Be so bad for him. It's going to be Stalker being chrono boosted out. It was initially 2 Adepts. Okay, now we see the probes transferring to the natural. He does still have 2 on each mineral patch. So he's got proper saturation. Stargate not quite getting scouted. Cyan. Yeah, he's not going to be able to kill this Overlord. Not without going out in front of the wall. But if he does, he will actually get the kill, I think. Oh, he's going to have to pull a probe to reveal to the high ground. Nice job from Shin, but great job from Cyan to counteract that. Shin, yeah, he's still going to lose this Overlord, but
Queen's
he
ready.
will get the
Here
scout on the
comes a new
Stargate.
challenger.
Yep.
Evolution complete.
Oh my god, I forgot he has the Diva voice back. Love it. As far as I'm concerned, Diva is still a StarCraft 2 world champion. I don't care that Blizzard decanonized that. I decanonize their decanonizing. I recanonize it. And I use that with the power of stubbornness. You can't stop me. Shin building quite a few lings here. By the power of Grayskull, I am quite stubborn. Void Ray is going to pop out. That's going to be able to help prevent a denial on this base, but still a wraparound on this. I feel like Shin might want to keep fighting here. Oh, he does get a kill on the shield battery and the zealot. Still, that was expensive. That was a lot of lings. 13 lings, in fact. That was a lot. Obviously, it's 200 minerals. Once again, the quick robo facility. Shin with a pretty quick layer, but not the quickest it could be. And that's partially because he committed to those lings. There's going to be a Roach Warren behind this. And we do see a full wall here. Now, if I see two Zealots warping in like that, I am going to be so suspicious of a charge lot all in. Like, I mean, what else could it be, you know? The answer is, it could be anything. You can just fake warping in two Zealots. They can be fake Zealots. We do have a very quick 6 gas play from Cyan. He's going to drop a stasis trap in the main. We'll get a little bit of scouting information. Sees that the gas is at the natural... Well, one of them was just taken. Sees that the layer is done. It is going to be the Spire once again. We do have a Phoenix already started up. That is a little premature from Cyan. But evidently, he is quite worried about Mutas. Good save on the gas at the third. Cyan feels like he's playing by vibes a little bit in this game number 3. Kind of felt the same way in game 1, actually. Going to be another Robo Bay, by the way, out of Cyan. I mean, Colossus can be extremely good units, especially against Layer Tech Zerg, which Shin is a Layer Tech Zerg enthusiast. Man after my own heart, but way better at it. That is such a weird number of Zealots to see. For there to be a Twilight Council that is basically going to be finishing when Charge would normally finish. Actually, no, if it were a Charge lot, Charge would be finishing far before this. Surely he will go for Charge, though. Oh, Overseer does get denied. He sees the Robo Facility, but doesn't get to see the Robo Bay. Didn't get to see the Forge or the Twilight. Now, 3 Phoenixes. Man, this is so interesting. Cyan is basically blind countering the Mutas. He did this in game 1 and game 3. And he's playing like a really interesting style of ultra eco-focused. And very much focused on... I'm setting up for a big anti-mid-game army, is what it feels like. This feels like a really, really great way to play against Shin if he hasn't seen you do like this before. We're going to see the Mutas popping into the natural. Once again, the lack of a cannon or a shield battery means that these Mutas do find a lot of value. Once more, he throws down 9 Mutas upon seeing no cannons, but this time the Phoenixes are going to absolutely destroy the Mutas. Drastically different scenario. Did he cancel the other Mutas? Yes, he did. He restarts 10 Corruptors instead. Where are these queens going? Oh, God. They're so slow off creep. God. This is like the geriatric Olympics. Oh, I hate it so much. Duh, we're back on creep. Holy crap. I cannot tell you how much I hate watching queens walk off creep. It causes me so much anguish in a genuine dark part of my soul. Observer, by the way, gets to see... Did he get to see the Corruptors pop out? Where are the Corruptors? Oh, they're crossing the map. Maybe he didn't see the Corruptors pop out. +2 weapons is going to complete, though. And this is go time right now for Cyan. He's on 10 gates. Corruptors are not going to have an easy time approaching this army to snipe the Colossus or the Prism. No Bane speed done yet. No +1 missile, no +2 melee. Cyan is... I feel like this army from Cyan is really strong. Now, there's no blink. It's important to note. Corruptors. Oh, if they could find the Prism, that would be amazing. But they're going to go for the fight instead. Look for the Colossus. He will get one of them very low very quickly. Oh, can he get that one immortal? He does. Corrosive Biles almost leading the Colossus into their doom. That was kind of expensive for Shin. And he didn't kill a crazy amount, including, most importantly, not getting that one very important Colossus. Oh, Cyan sneaking a couple of Zealots on the right side. It's weird to say it, but this is kind of a 4-base all-in out of Cyan. But he's adding a second Robo. He can still transition out of this. Take a 5th base, get towards Stargates. But he is trying to end the game with this. That should be very obvious. And I think it is. Zealots on the right side. They are going to be nasty here. Shin is going to have to split these Banelings over to the side. There's a nicely placed spine that's been built. The fake Colossus is very cute. There was always a chance that Shin accidentally A-moved some Banelings into it and just lost a ton. Zealots do get mostly cleaned up there. Here comes the main fight, though. Archons are pre-spread very nicely. Colossus will get blasted. So too will the Prism. Is there enough to actually clean this up, though? That's mostly Banelings and just a handful of Ravagers against a lot of Archons and a Colossus. Phoenixes will lift a good number of the Ravagers. The supplies for Cyan is very far down, but a lot of the supply for Shin is in production. And as Zealots warp in, the supply suddenly even. Cyan's army looks way stronger with the leftovers right here. But he doesn't want to lose these Archons piecemeal, and that's kind of what's happening before the Zealots show up. There we go. Oh my god, the Queen off creep. She could have been so useful for transfuses. She does go down, though. Shin is on 5 bases. And he will hold here. Cyan, I feel like if he retreats out with the Archons and reinforce... You know what? I think he just could have retreated out with the Archons, period. It's still layer tech Shin. Cyan is going to take a 5th base. I don't even think Cyan is really even behind by much after that. Just because the tech of Shin is really, really crap. He's got +2 melee. He's got +1 missile. But it's a Protoss that's about to be on +3 weapons for the ground. And that really is a high impact upgrade for basically every ground unit Cyan will make. Zealots with their double swipes. Archons with their plus versus biological. Colossus with their multi-attacks. And we've even got a Fleet Beacon finishing up. He can start a Mothership. Well, he can start a Mothership once he gets up to 400 gas. Yeah, I feel like Cyan is still ahead in this game. Like, by a lot, actually. It's Shin that needs to get something done. And I don't really think he easily can. Zealots are going to move in during this attack. God, there's so many Archons here. They're going to tank the Banelings so well. Prism not being controlled particularly well, but it's not being targeted either. There we go. Now he picks up one of the Colossus. One of the Colossi does fall, but Shin is going to get absolutely blasted here. He needed to get something done, but he wasn't able to do so. On the other side, though, the Zealots did get defended. Every Corruptor, though, now has fallen. Shin's got, like, nothing left. For the moment, he's ahead in economy. Somehow, I don't even know how, actually. Is Cyan not mining efficiently or something? I mean, I guess they're on even workers. And they're both mining, like, a lot of gas. Actually, Shin's not mining that much gas. No, Cyan is still... Well, no, Shin is on quite a bit of mineral income. Yeah, Cyan's winning this game. Straight up. He is just winning right now. He's about to be back on 3 Colossi. They are kind of needed at the front here, but... Actually, are they? He's got so many Archons. 2 of them actually lost all those shields and did survive. Oh, nice hot pickup on those Archons in the front. They're going to get juggled back. Shin's Banelings just disappear. And even without the Colossus, he would have been fine. But the Mothership and 2 more Colossus show up. Cloaking Field activated, and Shin gets taken down in game number 3. Yeah, I feel like even after the big attack that Cyan went for, the more I looked at it, the more I was like, wow, this is totally fine for Cyan. Wowie zowie. Shin is the dark horse of every large tournament. Heh. That is the classic meme, but it's pretty accurate. All right, 2 minutes of ads real quick, and we will get into the winners match, which is going to be Cyan versus Clem. Didn't have that on the old bingo card. I will say, if you're going to lose a match, it's not so bad to lose the first match to Cyan, but now we'll have to play Rogue in the loser's match, which is not ideal. Not ideal. I feel like I haven't seen Cyan's TVP in quite some time. But I mean, he's going to have to pull out all the stops to have a chance against Clem here. Clem in the winner's match? That's crazy. Already some upsets. Even though I think Cyan is absolutely capable of taking down Shin, I think it's fair to say that that was still a bit of an upset. Was Shin all in or something? Can I get a kiss goodnight? Absolutely. Nah. Can't he try to play that out? Are you talking about... Well, it depends which game you're talking about. If you're talking about game 2... Not so much, but he did obviously try and play it out, but it depends at what point. It depends at what point you're talking about. Top 5s against top 30 Protoss. I mean, it is for sure. It was for sure an upset. Is Cyan really only a top 30 Protoss? I feel like he's far better than that. Unfocusing my eyes. No, he's much higher than top 30 Protoss. He's like top 15. Let's see. Hero Max Packs Classic. That's 3. Zaun is 4. Showtime is 5. Trigger is 6. Creator is 7. Skillus is 8. Christiana is 9. Nightmare is 10. Mana is 11. SOS is 12. Cyan is 13th. Ranked 13th. That's according to Aligulac. You can take it with a grain of salt, but Top 13 is very different than top 30. But I also think Shin might be... Is he 5th? Is he 5th currently? No, he's 4th. Oh, wait, Showtime is on a new team. Wait, Showtime's not on the Sentinels anymore, is he? Is he still on Sentinels? Huh. Not sure. Either way, let's get into game number 1 of the winners match between Clem and Cyan. All right, here we go. Spawning down in the bottom left, it is Cyan. In the blue. And his opponent spawning up at the top right. For Team Liquid, it is Clem. Melem. In the red. Clem obviously winning a pretty exciting series versus Rogue. Although I will say each individual game didn't feel super back and forth. Game 1 was really good from Rogue. Was it back? I wouldn't say it was back and forth so much as it was like there was a lot of action. It was a little bit back and forth, a little bit. It never felt like one player was significantly ahead, though. Yeah, it felt like they were both kind of matching one another quite nicely. And then game 2, Rogue did a super weird, like, Hydra all-in that completely fell on its face. And then in game 3, Rogue was pretty behind from the opener, and then extremely far behind afterwards. Cyan, by the way, is going to go for a little bit of a scout around the 3rd, maybe hoping that Clem went for a proxy 2-Rax Marauder or something. Or a proxy 1 gate, proxy 1 Rax, and he'd scout it and clean it up. And then, just win the game. But I feel like Clem knows he's a pretty heavy favorite here. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy risky. I would certainly be surprised if he proxy 2-Rax Marauder. I'll say that. Oh, Probe is actually going to slip past this Marine. That's funny. That felt to me for a moment like I was map hacking. Because I basically followed the Probe exactly. But I just knew where it was in the Fog of War. And I should. That does sound like I'm hacking. Caught! No, I basically, if it was going up the ramp, that's the route it would go. Did Cyan not see the factory? No, he didn't. He sees the reactor, though. He does get 2 attacks on the Marine, which is quite funny. Imagine giving an observer map hacks. I know, right? It is going to be a Stargate opener. That is pretty cool. That is really, really cool. I miss Stargate openers as a more common part of the TVP matchup, the PVT matchup. Stalker does reveal itself, but there are 5 Marines just hiding on the high ground. Okay, it's going to be Phoenix. Single Widow Mine. So this feels to me like we might see a 6 Marine mine drop. Single mine into Tech Lab. This can go just into a tank push. Into a just straight up tank push. It was a 1-Rax expand out of Clem, but of course he's added that second gas, and he's going to be able to afford, quite a few units. There it is. There's the siege tank starting up, and that definitely, to me, with it being a tank, not a Cyclone, screams that he wants to go for a push. The thing that's good about 6 Marine Mine over, like, just a double mine drop is that it's decent against everything, and that includes Stargate. Oh, but it just being a single mine drop. I mean, it's less bad than if he'd committed to, like, 3 mines early, but that's still going to be... That still should be for Cyan, assuming he responds quickly. a kill on both of these units. He is going to... Oh, no, he does add a third or fourth Phoenix, I should say. Medevac will get spotted here, and it's going to go down. Cyan should have no problem chasing this down. And Clem, he knows... So he used the boost already to, like, get in there. That's really good for Cyan. Really, really good. Clem knows there's no saving that, so he's just like, okay, whatever. The fact that it is only one Widowmine means that it's not the worst it could be. But Cyan, well, now he spots the move out. Gets a couple of pot shots on this one Viking. There is a lot of Marines here. This is more of a Marine push, honestly, than anything. Cyan needs to buy time for additional warp-ins, I think. Oh, Siege Tank killing that shield battery before it could finish. There is one in the back. And that one will complete. Now a second tank does show up, though. We're going to see a lift coming in on top of those tanks. Target fire will take down one of the Phoenixes. Second one as well. And, oh, man, really nice target fire on those Phoenixes there. Second tank gets re-lifted. Viking did go down during all this as well. Stalkers can kind of take down everything here. But as the tank shows up, a new one. Oh, wow. Cyan moving in right as the tank unsieges. That was a fortuitous bit of timing. He does lose the Phoenix, but he gets the kill on the tank. Even with all of this looking from the eye test, very good for Cyan. And trading efficiently. And cleaning up a lot of this army. Clem is still even in workers. He's building a third CC. He's getting his fourth and fifth barracks. Cyan, though, once charge completes, I feel like Clem needs a bunker, actually. I feel like Clem really needs a bunker. The thing is, there's no reinforcements right across the map. Even a slow warp pylon would actually make this extremely scary for Clem to deal with. Just because there's no stim, no combat shields, no widow mines. And charge lots are going to be good in a scenario like that. And it is going to be 6 gates worth of production. I feel like if Cyan, had a forward pylon or a prism, Clem would be very hard-pressed to defend without losing potentially a lot of SCVs. But Cyan doesn't go for it. And as a result, Clem will get the stim up. He's going to be able to land his third CC. His first 2 medevacs are now out as well. And he comes out of this, I would say, he's still totally fine, and he's even ahead. But Cyan is not in a terrible position by any means. Ooh, a little bit supply blocked, though, at 109. He's now going to have 5 pylons in production. His Nexus will actually complete. And now he's going to be... Now he's going to be way over pyloned, funnily enough. Oh, looks like Cyan is setting up for some potential proxies all around the map. All around the map, I should say. All about. Oh, there are a couple widow mines here. Huh. That is quite weird. Wonder how he knew that there was mines there. But the weird thing is, like, he still went in range. That was just interesting. Like, he came in from the right side. Huh. Slow pylon is eventually going to turn into a fast pylon, but for now, he will get the warp-in off regardless. Army does get spotted. This is a really nice spotter marine from Clem out front. Widow mine from the previous shot on those Phoenixes will come back off cooldown. Marines just stutter stepping back. Does manage to keep those alive. Good job from Clem. Cyan is on 4 bases here. And he's going to take a 5th. He's getting Blink on the way. Clem, oh, look at that. He's able to kill multiple probes. Doesn't get the 3rd, though. That would be perhaps a bridge too far for him to have gotten that one. Observer does spot the army. Clem, he's getting in towards his second NG Bay armory. He's already on double starport reactor, so triple Viking production, and funnily enough, a Liberator, of all things. Cyan adding a second forge. Gonna keep those upgrades pumping, which is pretty crucial. There's so many little things that you kind of have to do in this matchup to keep pace. And there's lots of little ways to cut corners and little flavors that you can add to your build. Or your style, I would even say. Speaking of which, we're going to see 2 more Robos and a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon and +1 air weapons, and it's going to be shields instead of armor. So Cyan is, he's heading towards a late game. And it's not that late game versus Terran is unwinnable by any means for Protoss, but once the Terran gets up to 2-2, that 4th base landed and fully secured, 8 racks of production, double starport, ghost production as an option, that's when things start to get really difficult. That's a good scan in the middle of the map. Sees the upgrade, sees the 5th base, sees the fact that there's Colossus. And Clem says, okay, well, yep, time to add the fusion core. Not a whole lot of action since that early game. Obviously, the initial push got a little bit of damage. Oh, kills the observer there with the EMP. Very nice. Very nice from Clem. Of course, EMP does reveal the cloaked units. Very nice little SimCity at this 3rd base, by the way, from Clem. Missile turret and a great couple of couple of depots there around the bunkers. Cyan, though, will find Clem a little bit out of position here. Clem going to split his army, though, very, very nicely, and will be able to defend the run-by on the right side. It's going to be carriers. Okay. Wow. That is unexpected. Carriers can be extremely good, even versus Terran, if you get really good upgrades for them, and specifically you get an upgrade advantage versus the Vikings, or if you manage to land the right storms. Oh, that scan, though. Spots the second core, spots the carrier being produced here, and that should let Clem know, yeah, it's time to build more starports. I would say it's even time for a second armory. Planetary Fortress at the 4th base will get jumped here by Cyan, but the mass repair is going to be enough to buy time. That is a big attack that is going to get absolutely smashed. Because most of Clem's army wasn't here, it's not the worst fight you've ever seen for Cyan, but he's going to lose a couple of disruptors that were basically just trying to provide an escape avenue. Oh, even loses that Colossus to the Vikings. Clem may decide to push off this. He's finished up his 2-2. Obviously, Cyan's invested in a lot of late-game tech, and this army of Clem is very strong. But with a shield battery and a cannon, defensive warp-ins, and potentially disruptors coming in from the side, Clem elects to not continue to keep pushing. And it's not as though this is a desperation position for Clem. Like, he doesn't have to keep going. There is that second armory being added on now. I think Clem might have had a bit of a brain fart with resaturating these 2 gases. He put 2 SCVs. That feels like muscle memory to me from when you build a fresh gas and you only have to rally 2 SCVs because the one that's building automatically starts to mine. So maybe just a little bit of autopilot right there from Clem. That would make the most sense to me. He does have these Vikings in a good position. Big stim coming in from Clem. Carriers are not out in big numbers yet. There's only 3. Oh, and we're going to see +2 shields denied at like 75-80%. Carrier is going to rally out. It should die instantly. Shield battery is desperately trying to keep it alive, but yeah, no chance. 2 more carriers do pop out. If all of them had a full complement of interceptors against that number of Vikings, they might have actually won that fight. All 3 of them, that is. But obviously 2 of them were late to the party. They didn't have all their interceptors yet. Disruptor shot's going to try and come forward here. Nice. Kiting back from Clem. And this is looking like Cyan is kind of just getting bullied a little bit here. It was a neat strategic approach. But Clem was really on point with the scans. Good defense. Nice snipe on that robo facility in the natural. Cyan's going to try and clean up this army. If he could manage to clean this army up. Oh, that's such a good split against the Disruptor. Oh, man, again. He does lose 1 Marauder, but that's still very nice. Cyan's doing a good job of controlling this army here. I mean, even if we get up to these 4 additional carriers that just got fired up. Clem is back up to 8 Vikings. Is soon to have 6 more. 6 more being produced at a time. Oh, Disruptor gets taken down. Cyan's not going to get the time to build these additional carriers that he was looking for. GG will get called. Clem, of course, completing the 3-3 upgrades as well. And Clem takes game number 1. Very weird little game, honestly. Protoss army evaporated immediately. It sure did. It sure as heck did. All right. Let's get into game number 2. Thank you, by the way, for the follows. God of Awesome, Pan Pumpa. Seaberg with the 5-stream streak. Very cool. Trash Dev, Skyrudo. Couple of people following before we actually went live, which is neat. So that means from somewhere. From somewhere. All right. Here we go. Game number 2 of this winner's match. Spawning up at the top right, it is Cyan. In the blue. And his opponent spawning down to the bottom left for Team Liquid, it's Clem. Melem. In the red. Nope. Just bumped my mic arm with my coffee cup. Very nice. Reminder that after this one, there will be a losers match between Shin and Rogue. And then winner of that match will face off against the loser of this one, which, I'm going to be honest, I would be blown away if it was not Cyan. If Cyan manages to somehow beat Clem, that would be so impressive, but I just can't see it happening. Not after how game 1 went. Like, it feels like a lot of things went right for Cyan, but you need to beat Clem, it feels like. You either need to massively strategically fool him, which is so difficult to do. Unless you're Hero, in which case it seems like he's very good at that. But even then, you also need to be able to execute at a speed that is comparable, like Max Packs or Hero or, yeah. I mean, that's just talking about Protoss players. Obviously, there's guys like Raynor, there's Solar, there's Rogue, Cyril, but I think of him less so as winning on speed and more so winning on strategy. Oh, Cyan. Okay, what are we thinking here? It is going to be Marine into Cyclone. Cyan maybe trying to wait out a Reaper and is going to poke in.
SCV ready.
Oh, can Clem get the kill? Not quite. They are, of course, playing cross-server. You can see that the stutter step was not quite perfect from Clem. Feel like on a normal situation, if he's playing with low ping, he gets that no problem every time. But not quite able to get that. That's a little bit of a nuisance. A little bit of a nuisance. We're going to be seeing a Huh, second barracks before add-on. Interesting. Cyan does open up with a Twilight Council. What is this reactor for? I mean, obviously he wants to be able to pump out Marines pretty quickly. This feels like such a quick second barracks. Huh. That depot is also very early from Clem. That's really early, actually. Now a starport coming in, and he still hasn't added on the tech lab yet for this second barracks. Is he going to go for, like, a push with this? Like, just 3 Marines at a time? I mean, that would make a lot of sense for the early reactor. Very curious. So far, Clem has, well, he has not seen out past the front of his base. But he is going to go for an SCV scout here. Adds a second tank on. Still no add-on being produced. If he just pumps a medevac, I feel like this definitely is going to be a push, yeah. Maybe he looked at what Cyan did in the previous game and felt, I can do something more if you try and take a third base. But, of course, Cyan is opening up Blink, the much more standard setup. Oh, this is cute. Oh, this is so cute. I was wondering about this. I was like, there's no way he's building a bunker, right? Oh, man. That is actually so nifty. You would never suspect this. And it is going to be a push, of course. A couple Marines added in here. Still no add-on, so Clem is... Oh, well, Clem is getting a tech lab on the starport. Okay. Oh, this bunker did get spotted. When did Cyan see this, I wonder? Clem did lose that without canceling, which is a little bit awkward. I'm going to have to go back and see when Cyan saw that. He might have just checked for that position. Immortal does get fired up just now, though. Shield batteries trying to be produced. A couple of probes pull in. They do basically nothing and just get blasted by the tanks. Shield batteries will complete, though, and the Marine count is being whittled down. Good spread on the Stalkers here from Cyan. Oh, he blinks forward in on top of the tanks. Actually going to clean this up, I would say, quite well. Once again, though, Cyan is now down in workers. Oh, that tank volley was devastating. Didn't actually kill... Wow, that sentry with a death wish. It didn't kill any of the Stalkers, but it knocked them all very low on HP. Oh, Cyan's got to be careful. The shrubbery is a hazard. Yeah, the thing that's crazy about this is the fact that Clem comes out of this with a worker lead. Obviously, he killed those 4 probes early. And he did trade reasonably well against the Stalkers. But it's just the fact that Clem is so consistently building workers during this. Whereas Cyan focused a lot more on the battle micro on its own. Not able to spread the attention, it seems like, to still be able to build those probes. It's possible that he just didn't have the money. And he needed to spend all of his money on, shield batteries and whatnot. And he has now chronoed out a lot of additional probes and has taken a significant worker lead and a decent little eco lead. It is going to be the Forge coming in from Cyan here. Yeah, I'll have to take a look, Bulbasaur. I will have to take a look. Oh. Probe at the 4th is going to get pulled away. Cyan. Oh. Finds in just 1 SCV? Yeah, that's kind of nice. If you can find this other SCV, that'd be great. Does get it. Very well done. And he manages to get the Marine. Cost him a lot of HP on that one Stalker, but as long as you keep it alive... Stalkers are expensive, and their hull is valuable. But Still nice to get a pick off. Clem is moving out with a big army onto the top side. Cyan with an observer that is going to spot this army's movement. Clem immediately sees that observer and scans it. First Colossus is getting close to popping out, but it's not done yet, and this is a very strong-looking army from Clem. Force fields come down. He does catch 2 Marauders immediately. That's pretty nice. On the other side of the map, though, a couple of Zealots will get in on the third base. We'll find a couple of SCVs before they get cleared up by the reinforcing bio. That was kept at home, by the way. Cyan going to try and break this. Blinking forward, not able to get the tanks, and they get huge shots. They kill the Colossus, devastating the Stalkers. Not quite able to kill the Immortal, but I think, yeah, that's pretty much going to be game-ending. And Clem will take the game and the series off that. And we're going to see if we can figure out what, if anything, Cyan saw at that third base. Just curious. This was a cute little move. Yeah, because he didn't have... I don't think he had vision of the move out initially. He sends a hallucination.
I'm here in the shadows.
Oh, that was weird.
Engaging the enemy.
Okay, he does see the move out there. And he blinks the low ground. Yeah, yeah, you're right. He basically just saw it incidentally. Very fortunate that he did get the denial on that.
In the shadows.
Because that could have been pretty nasty. Good defense from Cyan against that, though. All right, next up is going to be Shin versus Rogue in the losers match. I'm not sure who I favor there. Best of 3 ZVZ losers match. Winner will face off against Cyan. Mr. Rogers would approve of that sweater. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. This is my first time watching Pro SC2. Is there anything I should know? Yes, there is a lot you should know. Depends on how much you know. So if you... First things first, there are 3 races. Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. They are asymmetrical in their balance, which means that they fundamentally, from the ground up, have their design very differently. But they do function in similar ways. So you probably know that already, but we'll start with that. Zerg is, you know, alien, kind of xenobiological race of beasts that have been use evolution. They absorb races, actually. So they've taken their units from a bunch of different races that they've discovered throughout the galaxy. Protoss is like space wizards. They are extremely highly technologically advanced. And Terran is humans. They're just humans. Rednecks, in fact. Just swapped from YouTube to Twitch. Appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. Yes, currently the best players in the world are, I would say, from each race, I would say Clem, Maru, Cure for Terran, probably. For Protoss, I would say Hero, Classic, Max Packs for Protoss. For Zerg, I would say... Cyril, Raynor, Solar, personally. So one of the biggest things about watching a game of StarCraft 2 is that it's not just about... So there's so much to pay attention to, and there's so many things to do. in a game. But at this level, they do basically all the players are going to do the basics extremely well. Better than most players are capable of doing. So that means... that means their timings are going to be basically as tight as they can be at the top level. They're always going to be building the most number of units that you can, and then they're going to be controlling their units in a way to extract the maximum value out of them. And the macro is the decision making of how you spend your money and the efficiency of how you spend your money. Micro is the extracting maximum value out of the units that you build. Timings is in getting specific units or buildings out at the soonest time possible. Exactly. That is exactly what that means. Yep. So if you have a timing that hits with, let's say, 20 units and it hits 20 seconds late, that gives your opponent an extra 20 seconds to build units to deal with it. So for Protoss, that would be an entire extra round of warp-ins of units. So, because the warp-in cooldown for Zealots is 20 seconds. So you might end up facing 8 additional charged Zealots against that. Hey, very cool, very cool. That's it's nice to hear, Louis Chapham. And then you might also go for an attack that hits at, let's say, 7 minutes, and then your opponent scouts it. So you switch things up, and instead of going for that attack, you say, wait a minute, no. They've scouted it. They're expecting it. They're going to defend against this. They're going to maybe cut some of their economy. They're going to build static defenses. I'm instead going to wait for a little bit longer myself. I'll be hitting another timing, or I could hit another timing at, let's say, 8 to 8.5 minutes, and I will have advanced my army, made it stronger, more so than they could advance it stronger. That's kind of the concept of scaling. What is my favorite race? Well, the race I play is Zerg, but I don't know that I would say I have a favorite race. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit biased towards Zerg, for sure. Because you can't fully remove personal biases, I think, from anyone. But I honestly like all of them. I like all of them. I think they're all unique and they all have their different strengths and weaknesses. You think Terran will be your favorite after playing through the campaigns? Terran is really strong positionally. They have one of the coolest units in all of RTS across the board in the form of the siege tank. They also have a lot of flexibility. They have one of the strongest units in all of RTS in the form of the Stimmed Marine. Yeah, but it is a race that is very difficult to master. But I would say that's the case for all of StarCraft 2. If you like being very mobile and, you know, having good vision of your opponents, you might want to consider... It's funny, you're probably going to think I'm going to say Zerg, but you might want to consider actually... playing Protoss, because they have observers, which are a cloaked detector unit, and blink stalkers with they can allow you to kind of move around at a hit squad while you macro back up at home, while you're building units at home. Protoss mobile? I mean, it is. It is pretty mobile. These days. Back in the day, I would say not necessarily. But with Zealots as fast as they are and with Stalkers with Blink, Zerg is still technically the most mobile. In, like, Zerglings are, you know, the fastest unit. The teleport is so cool. Yeah. That's exactly it. It's the ability to blink around. All right, we're going to get into game here. Here we go. It is time for a fresh series. Spawning down on the bottom right, it is Shin in the blue. And his opponent spawning up the top left, a trickster if ever there was one. It is Rogue in the red. Losers match. Not the most surprising to see Rogue here. Very surprising to see Shin down here, I would say. But, well, winner of this will get a chance against Cyan in the run back. Shin did elect to go for the 14 Overlord, despite the fact that most players have agreed that Extractor Trick's 15 Overlord is better. Rogue actually going up to 17 drones, though. That's going to make his hatch a little bit later. Speaking of timings, the gold standard for when you get your hatchery down is 43 seconds would be the ideal. If you could get that, you are very happy with that. Now, Shin does get a 44-second hatchery, and he didn't have to Extractor Trick, which is pretty darn nice. Also, it's important to note that in StarCraft 2, the bases mine out at a pretty quick rate, but you want to continuously expand, basically, and take new bases to be able to continuously support your economy and support the production that you build. You also want to make sure that you're building enough production, enough army production potential to be able to spend the money that you're making. Zerg functions differently than basically every other race in any other RTS as well, it's worth noting. Because Zerg does not get to build workers and army at the same time. They have to choose between workers and army. So if you kill workers of your opponent early on, you delay their ability to build army. Because they have to rebuild those workers in order to sustain a future army production. So when you do damage to a Zerg player, the way I always viewed it is you are buying time for yourself and you're slowing them down. You're slowing their growth rate. But that applies to all the races. It's just that Zerg has to be a little bit more binary as to which they choose. We're going to see both players opening up with quick third base and a quick Baneling nest. Another thing to note about Zerg versus Zerg, it's well known, but since this is your first time watching potentially, 2 Banelings. So Banelings are an area of effect unit which one-shots these little guys, the Zerglings. They cost... They morph from the Zergling. The Zergling itself, it's 50 minerals for 2 of them, for a pair. So each one costs 25 minerals, but it's an additional 25 minerals, 25 gas to morph a Zergling into a Baneling. And one Baneling can blow up like 20 to 25 Zerglings. So that's extremely good value. It's actually 3 is the amount you want to kill to make it worthwhile. We're going to see a little bit of pressure coming in from Rogue here. Both players are going to build a Roach Warren, which is the sturdier basic tech unit of the Zerg. It's got a short-range attack. Oh, that was almost a big Baneling detonation, but Rogue manages to avoid it last second. You can see one Zergling being split away to try and go after this Baneling here. Not able to get the kill, though. Good save. Both players have added a second gas, and they've both added that Roach Warren in here. We do see Rogue going for the lair. It is quite common in the Zerg versus Zerg meta to go for a quick Roach Warren and second gas because it's extremely difficult to defend against that if you yourself don't have your own Roach Warren. It's extremely difficult to defend your third base. Now, Rogue has added a third gas and a layer and an evolution chamber. You can see that Rogue is trying to scout into his opponent's base to see what's going on, but he's been blocked. He does now see the Roach Warren. Rogue has added a few too many workers, I think, here. He's in some trouble. But Shin is interestingly going to start droning up himself. He did cancel his own evolution chamber. Oh. Looks like Rogue did kill a couple of his opponent's Zerglings with that Baneling. Shin is actually droning very heavily behind this. So this is something that can happen in ZVZ because it's all or nothing on production. You can end up with situations where players sometimes don't have this, the ability to deal with everything particularly well. Banelings do try and get drones. And they do manage to kill 3 of the workers. But Shin is a little bit behind in tech, and Rogue's going to be able to start up a Spire right here. Which, since Shin is not going for +1 missile, is going to be really good. I feel like Shin also is going to be going for a Spire. We might see Muta versus Muta. And, in fact, it looks very likely that we will see that. Now, there are 2 resources in StarCraft 2. There's minerals, which is your basic... That's your basic resource. And gas, which is the tech resource. So... gas right now for Rogue is very far ahead, which is very good for Rogue and very bad for Shin. Also, now there's an informational advantage as well as the timing of this. Zerg anti-air is very lacking relative to the other races. They only have queens early on and spore crawlers, which are immobile. Those are buildings, and they consume a drone when you build them. So Rogue has a massive advantage right now. And Shin... I think Shin's actually cooked. I think he's screwed. +1 Carapace is going to be really good here as well for the dealing with the mutas. Or fighting the mutas heads up. Roaches of Shin are going to try and get across the map. Does he have enough more roaches than his opponent to get something done here? I don't really think so. Rogue is committing into Mutalisks. The biggest risk for him was if he didn't commit into this. Shin's going to try and take down the 4th base. And he may very well get it. Nice cancel there, saving the money, getting the money back. If you don't cancel it, you lose the entire cost of the structure. But since he did cancel it, he gets 3/4 back. Mutas are going to be able to chase down a lot of these. Some good stutter step with the... mutas. And usually in an even game, the numbers are dead even on the Mutalisks. But because Rogue was so far ahead in the gas count, he is very far ahead in this Mutalisk count. And now he's got his roaches left over from the early game. He's going to be able to get some value with them. I don't think he's going to be able to kill his opponent's 4th base. But he's going to try and dart into the natural here. Shin going to lose a lot of drones there, even with Defender's advantage. Shin is just even in the workers here. This 4th base will get defended, but the gases got cleared out. And Rogue has droned super hard during all this. He is very far ahead in the worker count. This feels pretty insurmountable right now for Shin. I don't even really know what his out is here. Because Rogue's also going to have better Zerglings. He's got the +1 melee upgrade about to complete. And since Roaches cast 25 gas, you're not going to be wanting to build any more Roaches. And even if you did, the Lings will trade against them quite effectively. They'll be combat efficient. Who is watching this that doesn't know about SC2? Yeah, that's Louis Chapham. They asked us to provide a little bit of info. So we're being a little bit more informative here. This is a good fight for Shin on the right side, but once again, this all comes down to the Mutalisk count. And Rogue is far ahead in that Mutalisk. Well, he's not that far ahead. It's actually closer to even than I feel like it should be. But this Ling run by into the natural is going to be very difficult to deal with. The Lings of Rogue are far superior. The Mutas are going to have to support this. Zerglings in the natural, they're going to cook the drones. And you can see on that left side, drones are falling in large numbers. Rogue with a very nice Ling run by. And that is probably going to put this game out of reach now for Shin. If he had defended this perfectly somehow, which I really don't know how he could have, he's actually close enough in the Mutalisk count that if Rogue made an overcommitment or a mistake before this +2 Carapace kicks in, would be a big deal. Upgrades, by the way. Very important in this matchup. Attack and armor upgrades. Armor specifically. Oh, hold that thought. Here comes the fight. Both sides do have the +1 weapons. Or sorry, the +1 armor. It's a better spread for Rogue. Shin was already outnumbered to begin with. And he is going to get absolutely destroyed in this fight. And these games, they snowball very hard when one player wins by just a little bit. Rogue was winning by a lot. But yes, to additionally explain it, so Mutalisks, they attack, and their base attack does 9 damage. And then the attack bounces from one target, one enemy target, to another enemy target, and does a third of that damage. So it goes 3. And then it bounces one more time and does a third of that damage. So it does 1. So it does 9, 3, 1. So if you have armor, Mutalisks have 1 base armor, or sorry, 0 base armor. But if you add an armor point to them, they now go down to 8 damage. And then the bounce is also decreased. And the armor is applied to it as well. So you're now doing 8 damage divided by 3 minus 1. And then you're doing 8 damage divided by 3 minus 1. Does it round up or down? It actually, funnily enough, even though it only shows integers, the game stores the partial damage. But the way Mutalisks work is that they regenerate a lot of HP very quickly. They have an ability, a passive ability. What is it called? It's called something regeneration. Rapid regeneration. Yeah. If you like Johnny Rico, you probably love Jim Raynor. That's true. But yeah, Mutalisks are very fast. They're... Obviously, they can fly, so they can ignore terrain. And that regeneration makes them quite powerful. All right, here we go. Spawning down in the bottom right, it is Shin. In the blue. And his opponent spawning up the top left, it is Rogue, and he's going for a 12 pool. Not building any drones early on. He is building the fastest possible attack you can in this matchup. Getting a 17-second spawning pool timing. To go back to timings, you can with very, very good drone splitting and making sure that you immediately get as many workers onto close mineral patches as possible, you can theoretically achieve a 16-second spawning pool timing. But that is not super easy to do. Now, there are many ways to play as a 12 pool. Usually the goal is to force your... Oh, hello. Where's this drone going? Okay, this is going to be an all-in version. Yeah, he's going to be pulling drones with this. So you can... Oh, no, this is a fake. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, this is such a cool mind game. This is going to look like a different build. A one-base build which will have gas, i.e. a speed Ling Bane all-in. It's called a 13-12 Ling Bane all-in. But what this actually is a fake where Shin is going to see no natural expansion, no base down here, which there normally would be if there was a gasless 12 pool, but it's hidden on the other location. Rogue is a bit of a puppet master when it comes to these kind of early game shenanigans. Now, this does arrive at a 12 pool timing, but you can see already static defense being built by Shin. He starts up a spine crawler.
Your base is
He's
under
going to see
attack.
the lack of
Stay cool.
natural expansion, and he is building a second spine crawler. This is a big commitment to the defense. And Shin, I don't think he's going to be able to save this base. Rogue going to be able to micro against this and turn around on these units. A couple lings do pop out for Shin, but this is still a good start for Rogue. Oh, and he's going to trap these units. Shin was thinking Rogue would tunnel vision on the hatchery, but now these units are trapped on the low ground. Extremely good fights for Rogue here. And Shin is thinking that it's okay that he's given up this base. It is not. And now the Queen going to kill this Overlord. This Overlord gives you supply. And as that goes down, we can see Shin is not going to be able to build any more units until his next Overlord is produced. That's 100 minerals, which is a big portion of your income early on. Shin has gotten completely bamboozled. Rogue is now up 7 workers. These spine crawlers are useless for the foreseeable future. Shin has to get a lot of damage done on the other side of the map. But Shin is not going to have an easy time doing so. Rogue's got a nice little position on the Baneling nest here. He's going to have queens that can tuck themselves in. They are also ranged units, but they move very slowly off of this stuff, the creep. But when they're at home on creep, they move just fine. They also have 1 armor, so against the Zerglings that do 5 damage per attack and attack very quickly, you're reducing the DPS by 20%. Now, Rogue won't see this attack coming just yet. But he positions his queens very well in a couple of choke points here. Baneling's looking for the drones. They do get... Oh, wow. He could have actually killed a bunch of drones there. But instead, he wants to keep fighting. However, there's Banelings about to complete for Rogue. One of them does get canceled. Second and third are in a little bit of jeopardy, but there's a lot of HP and armor on those Baneling morphs. Oh, that's a manual detonation. Press X to detonate. And that is going to end up being a good defense here from Rogue. He is far ahead in economy right now, up 7 workers. But that is a big percentage difference. Shin not able to get the kill on that one drone that he tried to target down. He stopped short. He pulled off. And Rogue has a spine crawler at his third base. He is so far ahead in this game right now. Shin just now completing his natural expansion. So they're on an even base count, but not an even worker count. I really like the way Rogue orchestrated the defense there at the third base. Nice Banelings on the ramp here for Shin, but this is a really bad situation for Shin. He's stuck on 2 bases while Rogue takes the third. Rogue is going to be able to drone up at a more... He's basically, they're running a race at similar speeds, but Rogue is just further along on the racetrack right now. Shin's best chance is probably to just try and go 2-base Mutalisk and hope the game gets weird enough. Maybe Rogue commits to an attack just as the Mutalisks pop out, and these 2 spine crawlers can provide value. The problem is Rogue can build a lot of units off of 3 hatcheries. Shin gonna build a spine crawler number 3. He's hiding it. Yeah, he knows the only out he really has is Rogue to basically botch an attack. Botch an all-in. The Spire takes 66 seconds to build, and it's going to take even longer for the Mutalisks themselves to pop out. So Shin basically needs to survive for another minute and a bit without taking crippling damage. And that is going to be a tall order. Shin going to try and intercept some reinforcements with these fast-moving Zerglings, but he's going to have a tough time doing so. He's building a lot of Spine Crawlers, which are very strong defensively, but the Banelings, they get bonus versus buildings. Oh, the Banelings of Shin get a big detonation on the Banelings of Rogue, but this is going to be tough still. Spine Crawler's still not done yet. Spire is also not completed. There's still a lot of these tanky Roaches left over. Drone's going to try and block the Roaches of Rogue. Roaches and Lings from running by into the main base. But it's not going to be enough. Even as the Spire completed there, the Mutalisks were not even started. Already a lot of damage had been done, and Rogue takes the series 2-0. Well done. Rapid regeneration. Mutalisks have tissue regeneration. Ah. Also, welcome Bruno, Ursa TV. Because of the snowballing, does the more aggressive player tend to win more often? Not necessarily, but in Zerg versus Zerg, it can end up that... Actually, I would say players have gotten very, very good at defending overall, such that usually the defending player has an easier time. You looked away, who won? That would be... Rogue. Rogue won. When it comes to mirror matches, typically, yes. The more aggressive players are typically ahead if their early attacks are successful. That's the big caveat, though, if their early attacks are successful. If their early attacks are successful, yeah, Rogue One, great movie. It really is. It's such a good movie. Such a good movie. To me, I think it's my favorite Star Wars movie. I just think it is. It's kind of nice to have someone, by the way, that hasn't really seen StarCraft 2, because it's neat to see the game through a newish lens, or through someone's eyes that haven't seen the game before, you know? I enjoy that. I enjoy that kind of thing. Something else that's very important to note is that StarCraft 2 is very much designed around maps as well. Maps play a big role in deciding certain strategies, in you love watching Pro CS with non-CS friends? Nice. Yeah, it's fun to explain. It's fun to like walk people through it. I would agree with that too, Manticore. I would say defending has always been extremely difficult. That's clinically insane. Damn. All right, we're going to run a minute of ads real quick on Twitch, and we're going to get into the next game, the next series. It's going to be the Decider series. Does a Bane really kill 20 Zealots? No. A Bane can kill 20 Zerglings. It takes the Baneling... Technically, 5 Banelings burrowed or hitting in the center of 20 Zealots could actually kill 20 Zealots. But you're highly unlikely to get a scenario where the Banelings all connect. I believe it's 5 Banelings, by the way. Is it 5 or 4? I think it's 5. Because they do 35 damage versus biological. Sorry, versus light. And yeah. It's not quite enough to kill. So Protoss units are weird too, because they have shields and HP, and shields intrinsically have no armor on the shields themselves until you get the shield upgrades, in which case they gain 1, then 2, then 3 armor, depending on if you have level 1 shields, level 2 shields, level 3 shields. But then once it switches to the HP, you then apply any armor that the units have intrinsically. So, for example, Zealots have 1 base armor. So, Zergling attacks do 5 damage per hit. We'll go back to Zerglings again. Zealots have 50 shields and 100 HP. So, for the 50 shields, it takes 10 attacks to get through the shields. And then you've reduced it. You've reduced the shields to 0. And then if you continue to attack the Zealot, now the base armor does kick in. So now instead of doing 5 damage per attack, you do 4 damage per attack. And then it jumps up from 20 attacks to kill to 25. So 5 extra hits. So the attack and armor upgrades play a very big role. Yeah, usually you have to... Oh, it looks like it did Holy Squid. But usually you have to refresh, or you have to... I don't think it can dismiss ads in the middle of the ads. I don't think. But it's also worth noting that attack upgrades for units that have high attack value can scale better than armor upgrades. So if a unit does... What's a good example? Yeah, well, it scales based on the base attack. So Zerglings, Marines, they're both units that attack very quickly and do a small amount of damage. So Zerglings do 5 damage per attack, Marines do 6. So they gain +1 attack for each attack upgrade. So if you have level 2 infantry weapons on a Marine, it does 8 damage per attack, which is a huge increase. Massive, because the DPS is really high. And they attack so quickly. So you're going from... Well, actually, I guess the easiest one is Zerglings going from 5 to 6. Yeah, so it's a big 20% DPS increase. It's a massive value. But then the flip side of that is that big units like, let's say the Liberator gains, so it does 75 damage per attack versus the ground. So it gains +5 for each attack upgrade. So it goes up to 80 damage per attack with +1 ship weapons, and then 85 damage per attack with +2, and then 90 with +3. So it's a really big deal getting up to specifically +2, because that triggers what's called a breakpoint, which makes it go... It makes it lower the number of attacks it requires to kill an enemy. So breakpoints are really big in StarCraft 2. There's a lot of breakpoints in StarCraft 2. So I mentioned before that Zerglings get one-shotted by Banelings. But if you have +1 Carapace on the Zerglings, they survive with 1 HP. And all Zerg units slowly regenerate over time. Very slowly, but still worth noting. And then all Protoss units that have shields, which I think is just all Protoss units, also regenerate shields at a much faster rate once they've been out of combat for, I think is it 7 seconds? I want to say it's about 7 seconds. Yeah, about 6 to 8 seconds, let's say. So there's value in keeping your units alive as Protoss and then keeping them out of combat for a little while afterwards. That makes Blink Stalker Micro particularly valuable, because you can then blink them to the back of your army, and if they stay there for long enough, they'll regenerate the shields back up to full. 10 in-game seconds. Okay, yeah. All right, with that, we are going to get into the decider match here between Cyan and Rogue. Lings attack twice. That's actually not true. Zealots attack twice. Zerglings attack once. Zealots have sword arms, and they swing both swords. They're called Psy Blades. They're like lightsabers, really. Once again, thank you very much, Holy Squid, for the resubby. But Zerglings attack once, but they attack very fast. They also have an upgrade at the very top of the Zerg tech tree that makes them attack, I believe it's 33% faster. Is it 33 or 40%? It's really big. Decreases Zergling attack cooldown to 0.35 minus 0.15. So that's 30% faster. So normally the Zerglings attack twice per second. With that upgrade, they almost attack 3 times per second. Fenton! 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 Welcome, Mau Mau Mau. All right, let's get into it. Goddamn. Spawning down in the bottom left, it is Rogue in the blue. And his opponent spawning up at the top right, it is Cyan in the red. Something else to note is usually this does require the commentator to be paying attention. And, I mean, they should be, but it doesn't always happen, and sometimes we make mistakes too. Nobody's perfect. Even with perfect information, we may not know what's going on inside of a player's head. But usually when a commentator says this player is cheesing, they are saying that this player is planning to do something that is very all-in or very sneaky and trying to mislead their opponent. So we saw basically in game number 2 of that last series between Shin and Rogue. Rogue did a cheese in game number 2, but what he did was particularly intelligent because it used assumptions to make the cheese stronger. So the normal way to play it would make it so that these overlords that slowly move across the map for Zerg give information and would have given him information about what was going on in the game. But instead, he wasn't able to find out. Now, Cyan does force Rogue to take the in-base hatchery. Did Cyan actually scout it? Yes, he did. So he knows that there's no proxy on his side of the map. Also worth noting, this map, I talked about how certain maps have weird things about them that cause them to function certain ways. There is a mineral-only, or sorry, a worker-only path, so only workers can fit through here. Rogue gonna take an earlier third base than normal. Gonna be going hatch, gas, pool, hatch, and gonna delay mining his gas. Interesting. Cyan. Oh, second pylon. Oh, no. We've forgotten our second pylon. Oh, no, 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 no. No, that's bad. That is very, very, very bad. That's really brutal. So, oh, and he chronos into it, too. Ay, ay, ay. Ugh. Well, this is very bad because, so every player has build orders. I was talking about, okay, he's going to drop a third Nexus now. This was not intentional. This was not a part of the build. This is a, Cyan is riffing now. This is an off-the-cuff play. Oh, man, that's so painful. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, he's going to be way behind where he normally should be in this game because he was not able to build probes for 20 seconds at a pretty critical moment in the game. Basically, in the first 2.5 minutes of the game, he was unable to build workers for a lot of it. Like 15 to 20% of the game. And because of how snowballing works, normally if the game is even, the Protoss or the Zerg player will surpass the Protoss worker count right at around 40. The fact that nothing has happened and the Zerg players already passed the Protoss is very bad. Now, as far as ways to make up for it, taking a third Nexus like this is a pretty good way. And Rogue is building Spore Crawlers blindly because he doesn't know that it's a Void Ray. So he won't need these necessarily. He's also building a Roach Warren. Okay. Well, as far as disasters and how something could go, this is the best way that this disaster could go for Cyan. Rogue building a Roach Warren, not droning up super hard. Cyan, of course, is going to be able to take advantage of the fact that he can build 3 probes at a time very early on. Yeah. With Rogue not knowing what's going on in response, Cyan actually comes out of this. I actually think Cyan comes out of this ahead. Yeah, he does. And now he throws down a fleet beacon. Rogue, unfortunately, just doesn't know what's going on. Oh, does manage to snipe down one of his opponent's probes that was trying to take this 4th base. It is going to be a second Stargate added in. This looks like it's going to be a Tempest Rush out of Cyan. Ooh, Overlord will get picked off here by this Void Ray. Void Ray is a flying early unit. It's a little slow, but it's got the ability to use a cooldown called Prismatic Alignment, which makes the beam go from thin to thick, and that means that it does bonus damage versus armored. And that doesn't stop even the highest level of players from using it against light units, against which it gains no value. This triggers me at a truly fundamental level when I see this happen. It's not going to be a Tempest Rush, by the way. It's going to be carriers. Tempests, very fast, long-range units that do high damage. Carriers, slow units that launch up to 8 interceptors at once, or at a time. And can carry up to 8 interceptors. Oh, that's a nice little block right there using the wall to defend against these Adepts. Adepts have the ability to shade forward. Oh, nice cancel on that wall. With the Queen shooting, he actually gets the kill before the recall goes off. There was a lot of things to explain there. Recall allows the Protoss player to teleport their army back home, but it's on a cooldown. Overseer does get the scout here for Rogue, so he's figured out what his opponent's tech is, and he's already prepared to deal with it with his own Spire. We saw Mutalisks in the previous matchup. They're a fast-moving harass unit. Against this, you're going to want to make Corruptors. Oh, Cyan was out of position with his unit in the wall. That's going to enable Rogue to run in here. Cyan does drop a force field on the ramp and prevents the units from getting into the main base. That was actually a pretty good scramble defense there from Cyan. 7 Corruptors being built. They cost 150 minerals, 100 gas, but they have 2 base armor, which is extremely good against the carriers because the carriers have a very fast attack, and each interceptor attacks twice. So when you calculate with all 8 interceptors attacking per carrier, it is 16 times that attack versus armor is calculated. And that's why you can see Cyan trying to research the +1 air weapons right away. Meanwhile, it is actually just going to be a fake carrier rush. He's added 8 additional gateways and is going to be going for a massive Blink Stalker all-in behind this. Rogue already has a lot of creep spread on the map. He's built Roach Speed. He's built +1 missile. So he will have ground units that can fight effectively. But he's got to be careful about not overbuilding Corruptors. He's already committed to 17 Corruptors, which is a lot of money and a lot of army supply that cannot shoot down. Now, they do have this ability called Caustic Spray, which is where you basically piss on the buildings. And after, I want to say, 7 seconds, it goes from doing a very small amount of damage to the buildings to a truly insane amount. And once it's ramped up, well, you either need to kill the Corruptor or the building will eventually die. And when there's, 10 to 12 Corruptors pissing on the same building, it disappears quite fast. Rogue is going in towards units. He's seen the Stalker number, but he's got so much army supply and army value in units that aren't going to be super helpful. However, with the creep spread here, his units are faster. Corrosive Biles, they do make it a little bit awkward for Cyan. Both carriers get taken down very, very quickly. Rogue will definitely... You know what? I'd love to see Rogue split the Corruptors into 2 subgroups. 7 or 8 on the one side, 7 or 8 on this side. And you can actually kill town hall structures, command centers, Nexi with that. Caustic Spray going to be coming in. He could Cyber Core. Oh, getting the Cyber Core will deny the ability to warp in more Stalkers, but on the inside of the map, Cyan is blinked in on top of his opponent's units. This is not the play. There's a few too many units left over here for Rogue. That was very bold and a big overcommitment from Cyan. And Rogue is going to be able to drive this back now. Some good Corrosive Biles on the tail end. Caustic Spray does go on cooldown for a significant period of time. So he could have just Caustic Sprayed with 3 or 4 of the Corruptors on the Cyber Core and split them up across multiple buildings. Gotten the Twilight Council, the Forge, which has that important +2 upgrade. Could have gotten a Nexus. Still might be able to. Cyan is on 5 bases, though. It's worth noting. Oh, there is the Caustic Spray coming in here. He's still going to be able to potentially deny these 2 very important upgrades. We're going to see the HP start to disappear extremely fast. He depowers the structures. Charge stopped at 8.4 seconds left. But Rogue runs away right as the Corruptors are starting to ramp up in a big way. Okay. Well, Cyan's not going to lose these 2 important upgrades. They're just going to be slightly delayed. Well, significantly delayed, but they don't lose all of the progress that they would if the buildings were killed. Very unfortunate there for Rogue. And Cyan's actually, he's on a pretty darn good economy right now. Oh, Caustic Spray coming in on top of this pylon. It is going to get taken down very quickly. Nexus is also going to get taken down quite quickly. There's the damage ramping up really fast. And that will deny a fair bit of economy. Cyan does not have the strongest army in the world. Ravagerling Bane coming in on top of this. Oh, Rogue accidentally viling some of his own Banelings, but the probes in the mineral line will try and run away from these Banes. They will successfully escape. However, oh my god, please, just one attack, one auto attack from anything. He leaves the Nexus alive on 12 HP. That is a massive mistake from Rogue if he can't finish that off. It's going to start regenerating shields on its own. Rogue, why? Oh, a lot of the Banelings go off, not doing a whole lot there for Rogue. He's going to send those Corruptors back across the map. He needs to trade them out. He's actually got 22 supply trapped in those Corruptors. He did not need to use more than 1 Corruptor to Caustic Spray that. Could have just used 1 and then sent the other ones to different bases. Still, Rogue is in a good position here. Oh, there's those probes kind of waggling their way through this position. Cyan going to send some Zealots on the right side. They're an excellent harassment tool. Rogue does have +1 melee. Meanwhile, at the main fight, Prism is going to get taken down here. That's going to deny additional reinforcements. Rogue, he's eating a lot of his own biles. He's got to be very careful about that. Not having the easiest time. Zealots did end up winning the fight against the Zerglings. Not all of them were... some of them got dragged away from this position. And Rogue is not sending more units here. He's going to lose so many drones. Cyan really putting some big pressure on. Oh, but now he actually moves away from the mineral line. He is going to get cleaned up here. This does enable a kill on the 5th base of Rogue, though. I guess that's the 6th base, actually. Rogue's got this as his 5th. Very messy game from both players. We do have a Greater Spire being produced, which allows you to morph the Corruptors into Broodlords, a very powerful, slow-moving siege unit for the Zerg. That only shoots to ground, but launches out 2 Broodlings. And so there's impact damage, and then the Broodlings spawn in on top of it, on top of your opponent's units. And they're going to be very good against, well, against the army that Cyan has for the most part. However, you need free supply to morph those in, and he doesn't currently have it. Oh, Baneling drive-by at the 3rd base. Will get defended against Cyan. Mineral walking the probes away. Zealot drop going to try and come in here. There are spores in position, and they will kill the Prism. Yes, they do. That's quite big. Meanwhile, Lings on the other side of the map are going to get they're going to get dealt with. They take a couple of kills, but... Oh, in the middle of the map. Banelings get pushed away. There is the Broodlord morph. Rogue has successfully freed up enough supply to be able to build these Broodlords. He's also mining right now a fair bit more than Cyan, but Cyan is reestablishing his 5th base. Generally speaking, in an even game, the Zerg usually wants to be at least 1 base ahead. And it's been pretty even, but Rogue is taking 2 more bases. He's also sending this Zergling run-by on the top side. Zealots will warp in to deal with it. That is one of the advantages of Protoss. But here comes this big attack from Rogue. There are High Templar here with a good amount of Psionic Storm. Corrosive Biles found the Prism. That's big. Baneling's looking for the High Templar. They don't get them, but they get a lot of hits on those Stalkers. Cyan does not have an answer to these Broodlords here, and he is going to give up this base. He's going to try and base trade. The Broodlord's weakness is immobility. But Rogue is just going to bile down the base with the faster-moving units, and the Broodlords will start their march back home. Zealots on the left side will deny one of the newest bases. The other one has been killed, but these High Templar are in trouble against the Banelings. Banelings will connect on top of the Templar. All of them go down before the recall can go through. Stalkers trying to dance their way through, but this is not going to work out for Cyan in the long run. Eventually, they will get chased down if they can't... well, actually, there's no if. They're just going to get chased down. Zealots will try and support them. Oh, meanwhile, on the other side of the map, massive Baneling drive-by got 34 probes. Well, he got probes at the other base, but looks like 34 probes in total die. And Cyan's going to tap out. A highly chaotic moment there. Ends up going in the favor of Rogue. There's also something that is quite challenging as an observer to look at where the most important, or notice where the most important stuff is. At least the Corruptor's got it finally? Yeah. Would love to see Prisms at 3 supply rather than 2. Well, yeah, it's not a... I don't see the problem that this solves. It would ever so slightly weaken 4-gate Blink. Hate the idea of Prism nerfs. It's a skill-based unit. Yeah, it is. Brood should be able to attack air. Thoughts? Well, then you just go Mass Broodlord and you'd eventually beat everything. The only answer to it would be... I guess the BC and Carrier already can. Yeah, I do think the Broodlord is a little too weak for its role. I'll say that for sure. But I think for what its role is, it's still reasonably decent. Okay, we gotta run 2 minutes of ads. Not what Cyril thinks. He did say it was a hard question, and he said it's the most underrated unit, which I actually do agree with. I think he's 100% right about that. I think it is currently the most underrated units. I don't know if you need/want to nerf 4-gate Blink at this point is the main thing. It once again comes down to the age-old question of who are we balancing the game around. Thor kills 2 broods solo? Yeah. Yeah. But if you could make... it's weird. It's weird. I actually don't... The thing is, you can also... it's complicated. It's complicated. Thors do truck Broodlords. It's true. It's very, very true. But Broodlords are also 4 supply, whereas Thors are 6. But Broodlords are also more expensive. Only 50 gas more expensive, but yeah. They can fly. There are other better answers to the Thor than the Broodlord. Duh. Obvious. Neural Parasite for one. All right, here we go. Spawning up at the top left, it is Rogue. In the blue. And his opponent spawning down on the bottom right, it is Cyan. In the red. Very messy game there. But ultimately, Rogue does take it down. Some very nice run-bys on the tail end from Rogue. We're going to be seeing a gas first out of Cyan, so he is unlikely to go for a scout. Taking a bit of a gamble here in game number 2. Rogue, for his part, delaying his 16th drone. 16 hatches the standard timing, but you can build a hatchery at 15 supply if you see the Protoss player trying to block the hatchery. Maps control blink strength more than anything. That is correct. Rogue with a very interesting pool placement here. Setting up a little alley for the queen to be safer in. Just generally, it's just nice against charge lots. The thing that's quite interesting about StarCraft 2 is that there is quite literally that's not true. Almost a limitless number of things to analyze and talk about in a game. And if you try to talk about everything, and I do a lot of the time, that's probably one of my biggest flaws as a caster, is I try and talk about everything. But what you really have to do is focus on the most important things. And you kind of have to do a bit of triage during a cast. And that's what makes the pro players actually really, really good casters. That's I feel like Lambo and Harstem are very good at... Well, actually, they're good at talking about what matters the most to pros. There's also different schools of thoughts of how you want to commentate. Do you want to commentate for excitement, for hype? Or do you want to commentate analytically? And I think the best casters are a combination of the two. I don't think you necessarily, need to dissect every... I just want to enjoy the game. Exactly, Bane Supper. To no avail. It is Stalker first, but the Overlord is able to get up to the high ground. By the way, you can't see over high ground. So the Overlord turns invisible, despite the fact that it's flying. Oh, Rogue's a little supply blocked. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's a brutal supply block, actually, at 36. He forgot his second or third Overlord? Yeah. Fourth? I guess so. Fourth Overlord. Third Overlord that you build. Actually, how do you define that? Because you start with an Overlord intrinsically. Cyan has opened up with a Void Ray in every single one of his PVZs, I believe. Void Ray into Oracle. Pretty interesting. Ooh, we are going to be seeing a Twilight Council and 3 additional gateways. This is going to be Resonating Glaives, most likely. And as it's coming after the Stargate, I like to call that build Starglaives. Void Ray is going to get a kill on one of the first Overlords. There's actually 2 more. Well, technically... Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a lot that can be... He can kill 4 Overlords early on here. Queens will find a lot of damage, but this should be it. Oh, there we go. Doesn't need to click on Prismatic Alignment, but he certainly could. There's another Overlord over here. But it looks like he wants to send his Void Ray back home. Getting 3 Overlords is already such a successful Void Ray. I consider it successful when it gets 2. Getting 3 is gangbusters. And not a single thick beam activated. Now, you, of course, need to know where your opponent's Overlords are. Oh my god, Rogue has so many Overlords just smattered around the map. You can see his production's been blocked for quite a while. And supply blocked. Adepts. Just to explain this attack, 4 gates means 4 gateways. You can produce 4 units per warp-in cycle. And Adepts 2-shot Zerglings. And with this upgrade, they gain attack speed. So they kind of become machine guns for killing Zerglings. Very, very strong. But Rogue is going for a bit of a counter build here. He is going for a good number of roaches. And he's going to be going for what we like to call the German taxi, as it was invented by a German player named Lambo. And you get the Overlord speed upgrade, and it allows you to put queens inside of the Overlords. Hold that thought. We are going to see the attack coming in, but it's a block, a full wall. Shades cannot fit through here. Rogue with a good defense to start. Void Ray, though, is adding some DPS against these roaches quite nicely. Rogue doesn't have enough units yet to defend. Cyan is probing up and adding on Blink behind this. He's going to shade forward. This is looking actually quite good for Cyan. Rogue, though, does add on more additional roaches. However, he has to open the wall to let them out, and that means Cyan can now start shading around the bases of Rogue. Void Ray can just escape on out. It needs to keep moving, though. Oh, don't lose the Void. He's going to lose it. That's such an important part of what is going to be the defense behind this. Drones are falling, but Rogue is committing to the attack. He's building nothing but units right now. And this has been fully cleaned up. Oh, don't lose the Oracle. That's such an important part of the defense. After losing the Void Ray already, survives on 2 HP. Part of the reason why Zerg tends to not be able to attack against Protoss is because there's not mobile anti-air early. This build alleviates that by being able to send your anti-air units across the map. Normally, those queens that can move so slowly off creep, well, they're able to be flown across the map. They take a taxi, so to speak. This, I mean, army supplies right now and army value are so far in favor of Rogue, but Cyan is getting into a lot of additional gateways. He's got a lot of static defense at the 3rd base, and he's got his blink upgrade done, which is going to mean these stalkers can blink away and avoid damage, avoid being killed. But, oh, the Sim City, he gets caught in the corner, a cage of his own making. And those stalkers, unfortunately, not going to be able to retreat. Every unit is so important right now for Cyan. Loses 4 or 5 stalkers very, very early on. Rogue is a little bit bottlenecked by the SimCity of Cyan right now. These shield batteries that recharge shields are mostly out of energy. Rogue doing an excellent job of bringing overlords and spreading creep on the natural of his opponent. Cyan, he is starting to build his stalker count up higher and higher. He's almost got +1 weapons as well. But Rogue is beginning to break through. There's still a fair number of units. These queens, of course, can transfuse. Oh, Cyber Core goes down. That means no additional Stalker warp-ins again. Oh, man, Cyan was so close to making his defense happen, but it looks like he just does not have enough. And now that he can't warp in more Stalkers, the Zealots are borderline useless. I think you'd be better warping in Adepts. At least they would be able to attack faster. They had their charge upgrade. Those Zealots would be super useful here. Still, even now, Cyan is starting to target down more and more of the Ravagers, and the Queens are mostly out of transfuse. He's going to try and blink forward, use the probes as meat shield and additional DPS. Corrosive Biles do connect on a lot of the Stalkers, though, and probes are getting killed off. We do have Lings reinforcing as well. It looks like there's going to be a little bit too much for Rogue. Cyan was so close to making this happen. It really did come down to those first 4 or 5 Stalkers. If he keeps those all alive, he snowballs the defense, and I don't think it ever gets to this point. And that is a great example of why every little thing in StarCraft 2 does matter. Things like the shape of your static defenses, your Sim City. If those Stalkers had a way to retreat out, we would likely be seeing Cyan holding this attack and coming out very far ahead. Instead, he is Oh, man. I mean, there's Lings now in every single base. He's down to 16 workers and falling. GG is going to get called. Rogue takes the game and the series. Reinforcing Lings was a good idea over Roaches. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well done. And it wasn't in the way I expected it would happen, but Rogue and Clem do make it out of the group. Well done. And that is going to conclude today's broadcast for the non-gameplay start of it. Thank you, Dark Bladina and H4GER. Is that Hogger? For the follows. We're closing in on 19,800 followers. Hey, glad you enjoyed it. Chonky Blitzer. Who do you think wins the tournament? I mean, right now it feels like Clem's the favorite going into any tournament, but I feel like Raynor is really hungry right now. Yeah, of course, Louis Chapham. I appreciate you checking it out. Have you by chance been watching a bit of Grubby? The Grubster was playing a little bit. He's got a show match, supposedly. And now brain teasers. I want to play a little bit of ladder. Just an eensy bit. Just a teensy bit. For YouTube, we're going to say goodbye for now. Check out the rest of my videos. Like the video. Yeah. If you want to join on a membership, that'd be cool. Obviously, subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next time for Group C.